Do you hear this sound, everyone? That's the sound of general managers burning their money today on the glories of free agents shit-tacular, shit-stravaganza. My mother of God. Welcome. I'm actually on the road right now, so that's why it's going to be a little more of a limited stream this time. Everyone's drinking the stupid juice. I'll join in. How's everyone doing today? But yes, all the good times are in a row right now. I am some random dude. But we'll actually go through everything from the beginning since the expansion draft, just to let you know in that regard. But let's get started. In the meantime, the wonderful, wonderful bounty that is NHL free agency. There we go. Much better. We're going to begin with the Kraken expansion. You know, Alexiak, Adam Larson, which is still a really good deal for a defenseman, 4x4. Chris Drieger, who's now going to be paid as a backup $3.5 million for reasons I'll get to later. Carolina drank the stupid juice, so here's to them. Alex Nedeljkovic, who got traded for, let's breathe in, a third-round pick and the expiring rights of Jonathan Bernier. Because they didn't want to pay him a bonus. Oh, Lord. Nedeljkovic was a Calder finalist. I know maybe you didn't like his long-term future, but I thought it would have been safe to at least try to sign him, I guess. Bernier is now a Devil, but he gets 2 years for $3 million, which is relatively fair for Nedeljkovic. Also signed Michael Rasmussen for 3 years at 4.38. That is not 3.31. Come on, that is 1. Whatever. Drinking the stupid juice again. The Rangers for Barclay Goodrow, bottom 6 forward on a line with Yanni Gourde and Blake Coleman. 6 years at a $3.6 million cap hit. All the stupid juice. All the stupid juice. We keep going. Seth Jones, another big one after a really reasonable 4x6 or 6x4 for Taylor Hall. Seth Jones, after the worst season of his career, he not only gets traded for the likes of Adam Boqvist, he's not a forward, he's a defenseman, several first-round picks, which was included the 13th overall, a second-rounder next year. But Seth Jones had a terrible stretch. He gets 8 years at $9.5 million. I thought it was 8.2. We're going 9.5 now. What the fuck? To the stupid juice. Ugh. All the good stuff going on right now. But we do have more stupid juice here from Philadelphia. Shane Gostisbehere, a second and a seventh for nothing, which is fine. I mean, the cap space is important. They added Erasmus Ristolainen, who is the ultimate idea player there is. Like, you're not bringing in Erasmus Ristolainen for what he is right now. You're bringing him in as the idea of what he could be. And here's the best part. Let's go on to our old friend, Cap Friendly. Rasmus Ristolainen. Boom. Like that. Good old Cap Friendly for Philadelphia for Erasmus Ristolainen. His contract expires after next year, so if he has a good year, he's going to demand a pay raise. Good job, Philly. You absolutely played yourselves. And now you're going to be completely fucked. It's Cutter Hart's an RFA, and you got to pay him too. So pay up. Philly, pay up. Good job. Pavel Buchnevich for Sammy Blais in a second-round pick. I mean, I really think it's a bad trade. I think he could have gotten that money elsewhere, but, I mean, everyone's arguing that they needed space for Kravtsov and Capo Caco, and it's like, whatever. I mean, Sammy Blais is a decent bottom sixer, but you've got, like, no value for him. And Buchnevich, I think, got signed for, like, 5.8, which actually isn't too bad. 5.8 for 4, so he's might be a replacement for a guy like a Tarasenko if they choose to trade him. Also, more stupid juice from our friend Jim Benning. And the glorious stuff. Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Connor Garland. Oh, Connor Garland got like 5 years for $5 million, which is, I mean, fair for him, but holy shit, I mean, you got to pay a bunch of people. Ekman-Larsson has one of the worst contracts in hockey. You got rid of 3 really bad contracts that expire next year. Let's zoom in on Vancouver's situation real quick. because they have a lot of free agents to sign. They got to sign Elias Patterson, Quinn Hughes. They did get somebody else. I know Besser's a free agent after next year. They did bring back Brandon Sutter for 1 year. That's incredible. Great stuff. Luke Shen, Tucker Poolman, Travis Hamonick's back for whatever reason. They bought out Braden Holtby for reasons of I don't know. They bought out Jake Virtanen. They traded Nate Schmidt for a third-round pick so they can bring in Tucker Poolman and Travis Hamonick again. What the fuck is Vancouver doing? Can anyone answer that for me? Can anyone in their right mind answer that for me? Back to the stupid Jews. Yeah, very, very stupid Jews. I am going to have to mention here more of the glorious life. We'll keep going here. Jake Bean for a second-round pick, so Columbus may have done well there. We'll see how he does. Jacob Voracek for Cam Atkinson, which is another intriguing one because Atkinson had a bit of a down year. And Philly, I think, gets a little bit of cap space from Atkinson, but he's here for 4 more years. So, I mean, if he is 32, I thought he was younger. It's crazy. But he's dropping to $6 million a year. And Voracek, like, he still puts up numbers, and he's back in Columbus. He's making 8.2 for the next 3. So, I don't know what to think of that one. It depends if Voracek comes back to life. Line A got 1 year at 7.5. Surprised they haven't traded him yet. Surprised Domi isn't gone either. Sean Corral, they also got 2.5 for 4, which is like, he's not bad as a bottom 6 or so. I'd say that's fair-ish. So I don't know about 4 years, though. Sam Reinhart is officially gone, too, for Devon Levy, who actually had a really good has good upside, even as a 7th-round pick and a 2022 first. So Buffalo, they're blowing it up. I absolutely appreciate that. They really got a really nice haul for Ristolainen, too. A couple first-round picks, second, Robert Hagg as well, replacement guy. The biggest scandal in hockey right now, Marc-Andre Fleury going to Chicago for Mikael Hakkarainen, pure cap dump. He might retire, which, I mean, the rumor is the Penguins might end up getting him for whatever reason. And I hope not. I really hope not. But we'll see here. Alex Edler, 1 year at $3.5 million. But, I mean, Edler is going to be okay if there's that regard there. Cale Makar got re-signed, big cap hit, but I'd rather have him at 9 for 6 than Seth Jones at 7 for 3.5. I'd definitely rather have that. Mark Stahl's back, Trevor Moore is back, and here comes the fun stuff. Sam Bennett, 4 years at a $4.4 million cap hit, which also means you're banking on that short sample size, which is pretty ballsy. I think they did the same thing with Brandon Montour, if I remember correctly. Yep, 3 years, 3.5. So if it works out, great. If not, that's going to be rough. Paul Stastny for 1 year, 3.75. That's not too bad either. We got Connor Garland, 5 years at $4.95 million cap hit. So, I mean, if he plays up, he'll be okay. But for the most part, 5 may be a little steep, especially for Vancouver's needs. Mostly depends. Joel Armia, 4 years at $3.4 million. Not surprised about that. He had a really strong playoffs. He's a good middle 6 forward. Absolutely agree with that. Alex Ovechkin, I'm absolutely not surprised they brought him back, but for $9.5 million for his declining years, that's going to be a little rough. Very, very rough. I'm not a fan. I mean, hey, Washington, I mean, I hope he breaks the scoring record for you, but otherwise, yeah, well, he's going to be in Washington for the remainder of his career. Gabriel Landeskog is once again in Colorado. I was hoping for like $10 million. Somebody gets really desperate, but 7 by 8, that's pretty fair value for what he is. Oh, I'm seeing Edmonton drink the stupid juice, by the way. $4.5 million for 3 years for a guy who can't play defense. Congratulations, Edmonton. He'll fit in well on a pairing with Duncan Keith or Cody Ceci. But in the meantime, anything else going on beforehand? And then we'll get to the NHL signings. Nate Schmidt for a third-round pick, I didn't mention. At franchise, penalty minutes later, Curtis McDermott got traded to Colorado by Seattle for a fourth-round pick. That's really sad. One thing I never understood, Brent Seabrook goes from one of the biggest albatross contracts in hockey to suddenly, oh, look, he's injured in an LTR, and now it becomes a massive asset. And then Tampa Bay eats that contract, trades a terrible one in Tyler Johnson, and adds a second-round pick as sweetener. I've never understood that. I really have not, because like that is a loophole that I think the NHL might need to fix. Arizona's been doing the same thing for a very long time. And I don't know. I really don't know. But don't worry, we'll get to all the stuff here in the meantime. So I'm actually surprised so many people are watching right now. We'll mention that, and we'll start with a couple super chats in the meantime. Brian Nieves for 2, the Kraken making some decent moves. I mean, Grubauer is not bad. Grubauer is a good goaltender. I don't know if they really needed him instead of like center depth. Like, they didn't really get center. Like, Wenberg's the only real center they got, and he's more like a second or third line guy. They don't have that top flight center. Grubauer, like, what do you do with Vanacek? That's the question. I think you'd have to throw him on waivers unless you're trading him for like a second or a third. That's literally the only thing I can think of right now. Doug Kahn for 2 best and worst signings so far. I'll get to that in a moment, but I did want to say worst signing, I'd probably go Cody Cece's pretty bad. Like, Cece, I don't think he's like his cap hit's a little high, but I would not have given him 4 years. No way. I mean, he had good. He was all right. He wasn't a total trash heap. It was in sheltered minutes on the third line. You're going to treat him as a top 4 defenseman. You're going to have the same issues he had in Ottawa and Toronto. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I'm not a crazy fan about that. I know there were a couple others, too, that I was kind of about. Ian Cole's actually a nice deal there. Grubauer for a 6x6, I mean, it's okay. Jaden Schwartz at 5 and 5.5. I think that's actually a pretty rough deal if you think about it. Middle 6 forward, lots of injury issues. Let me ask you, what would you rather have right now? Injury-prone winger in Jaden Schwartz, or one of the best shutdown centers in hockey in Philip Deneau for the same cap hit? Make your choice. I mean, that's pretty obvious to me, but I'm not sure what everyone else is thinking. Yep, the Edler deal's official, 1 year, 3.5 as well. Now, go over all these too. Don't worry. Absolutely. Tyson Barrie is Edmonton is drinking stupid juice. So it's rough. Like, it is bad. Genghis Khan for 5. Clickbait will be glorious tomorrow. Hi, Tree. Days of our Perna is happening as we speak. And where is our 5K stream, by the way? Well, Genghis, what's happening here is I'm not going to be in this week. I'm actually driving. So I will not be able to make clickbait this week. Next week I'll probably do the 5-year or the clickbait stuff. But we'll definitely see that. Nerful for 2 Kings offered Bernier more than Ned. Yeah, they offered him more. They only offered Nedeljkovic like $1.5 million. They gave Bernier 4, and they signed Freddie Anderson too for 2 years at 4.5. So they offered Nedeljkovic only $500,000 more than literal cancer and Tony DeAngelo. Like, that is literally saying something. And Carolina is just saying, fuck your youth. We're going desperate with all this stupid shit. There's a reason why I'm not a huge fan of Don Waddell as a GM. He did this shit in Atlanta all the time. And I know, trying to see what else is here yet. Benny Hinostroza is going to Buffalo. Buffalo, congratulations. There's your Sam Reinhart replacement. Have fun. Phil DiGiuseppe going to Vancouver for a $750 two-way deal. Fun times there. Toronto signs Peter Marazzic as well. So Peter Marazzic is going to be your backup goalie in Toronto for, I think, 3 years, which is like, if you saw him in Game 5, or was it Game 4 against Tampa Bay when he gave up all those bad goals, I'm like, yeah, have fun with that. But yes, Bernier is now a Devil. That's crazy enough. So, like, what does Carolina do when Freddie Anderson goes to shit? Also, Blake Coleman got $5 million a year for 6 years. So, yeah, we'll keep going here. Sam Gagner got re-signed. Calvin Pickard is back. Maxime Mamine is back in Florida, probably going to spot and roll in the middle 6. Jordan Martinook got $1.8 million for 3 years. I got scared and said 5.4. I'm like, whoa. But that's 1.8. I think TSN's kind of screwing up some stuff here. So 1.8 for 3 is not too bad for Martinook. Brandon Sutter, this is actually a fair cap hit now. He's nowhere near as overpaid, and he's still a leader in the locker room. So 1 year, 1.125, not bad. Evan Rodriguez, 1 year for $1 million. Once again, not bad, not an issue there. Somebody gave Ryan Suter a 4-year contract. So let's look up Ryan Suter. He's like got to be 35, 36. Yeah, 36. So you're paying him until he's 40. I mean, it's not as bad as, say, the contract he had in Minnesota, but you're still paying a shit ton for him. And a guy who's starting to suffer physical decline. Yeah, have fun with that, Dallas. I know I like Ryan Suter as a player, but not crazy. But Minnesota, your replacement for Ryan Suter is Alex Villagoski, who, once again, nowhere near the same as well. So let's look up our good old Alex Goligoski. Come on. Yeah, he's still okay. Like, he's the kind of guy you forgot still existed, but he's still kind of there. He's actually going home because he grew up in Minnesota. So you're doing all right there in that regard. Let's keep going here. I'm losing my state of track. My apologies there, everyone. We'll keep going. Travis Hamonic gets 3 years for 2 years, $3 million per cap hit. Martin Jones in Philly. It depends what Martin Jones you're getting. If you're getting the cash fire Martin Jones the past few years, you're in deep fucking shit. By the way, he did get bought out, and we will look at that buyout in just a hot minute. It's probably absolutely hilarious. And then if Carter Hart doesn't return to form, and like I know Philly's kind of getting desperate as well. So Martin Jones, you do need to sign Carter Hart. He's going to probably get like a bridge deal. That would be my guess, same as Sanheim. But you've got $8 million to work with. I think you'll be okay there. You might be able to sign like a big free agent too. Claude Giroux is a UFA next year as well, so you got to be careful about that. Let's look up San Jose. What are they paying in dead cap for Martin Jones? Oh, dear God. Actually, you know what? As weird as it sounds, you're probably better off just eating all that dead cap, like 1.62 million. Like you're probably better off just eating that contract. Oh my God. Oh, by the way, they also have James Reimer back. Welcome back to San Jose. You are fucked. Have fun with this contract and this contract, and especially this contract. This contract's starting to look rough. Yeah, it's not looking good for San Jose. F's in the chat for San Jose. They are absolutely getting skull fucked right now. It is bad times. Mikael Granlund, 5 years, $4 million a year. Not a bad contract as well. Granlund actually had a strong year. He's a good middle six center, especially if you're looking to trade that. Boone Jenner. So he gets 3.75 for 4. I mean, it's all right. Been mostly injured. Let me take a look at Boone Jenner real quick. Yeah, he's been kind of but mostly injury prone. So I guess you got to overpay him just to keep him in Columbus. That's the only thing I literally got there. Oh, by the way, Nikita Zadorov is now a flame for a third-round pick. Edmonton also drinking the stupid juice, getting that good old bottom six grit and Warren Fogle for Ethan Bear. So pretty much they replaced Ethan Bear with Cody Ceci. Have fun with that, Edmonton. Have absolute fun with that. Excuse me, my nose is a little itchy. I know this is the premium content you have come to expect. I'm in the middle of a hotel in Baltimore right now, so that's why everything's a bit iffy right now. I don't have like the bed music or anything exciting going on. It's just me being boring. I know it's have fun. Whatever. Somebody being choir in the background, so. People are crazy. People are very, very crazy. Braden Holtby for 1 year, $2 million. I'm guessing that means the end of Ben Bishop. So it would be Ottinger and Hudobin. So I'm guessing Holtby's like extra competition. I'm guessing they're probably flipping out a goaltender. Zach Bogosian gets 3 years and $850,000. Decent depth, bottom six guy, probably looking for another cup. David Savard is now a Montreal Canadien. $3.5 million for 4 years. I'm not crazy about this because David Savard had a bit of a down year, and you're just looking for the for like that good old like grit per se. Like he's 30, he had a rough start. He did all right in Tampa, but it's the same kind of physical defenseman issue. Like I'm not crazy about 4 years of him, especially at that cap hit. That might be a future Arizona Coyote or a future buyout, if you get my drift. Evgeny Dadonov's contract immediately traded to Vegas for Nick Holden, a third-round pick. Dadonov might do a little bit better in Vegas, but he did not do well in Ottawa. I'm really disappointed in him there. Lane Peterson also got traded for a fourth-round pick, and Brendan Manel signing rights for a seventh-round pick. Let's keep going. Louis Belpedia, 1 year, $750,000 two-way deal. Eric Robinson gets $3.2 million for 2 years, which is another Columbus overpayment because they have to. Let's look up our good friend, Eric Robinson. Yeah, like 25, 26, but you don't pay a guy with 18 points in 56 games, a bottom six winger, 3.2 unless you think he's going to jump. That's the only thing I can think of right now. Derek Forbert gets a 3x3, which isn't too bad. He's a decent bottom pairing defenseman. Cedric Paquette gets 1 year, $950K, probably a minor league guy. Your Marc-Andre Fleury replacement, by the way, is Laurent Brossoit out of the Winnipeg Jets, who has been the epitome of inconsistent. I mean, as a backup, I guess he's okay, but 2.325 for 2. I expected them to go big. I wonder if they're going to get a certain somebody by the name of Jack Eichel. Yes, also Vinny Hinostroza to Buffalo, by the way. Enjoy your probable Jack Eichel replacement. The Pierre-Edouard Bellemare is going to Tampa Bay, 2 years for $1 million. Not bad as a fourth liner. I mean, Bellemare's like 36, so it's going to be okay-ish. Oh, my God. Sorry, I have to do this. I have to do this. Have fun with that, Edmonton. 4 years of Cody Ceci. Don't get me wrong. I like Cody Ceci was not a total trash fire in Edmonton or like Pittsburgh. I mean, but 4 years of Cody Ceci. No, not for 4 years. Toronto is laughing hysterically at you, same as Ottawa. Have fun. Michael Bunting, 2 years at $950K. Like he had that random stretch where he had like 10 goals in 21 games. And it's actually not a bad deal for Toronto. I don't think he's going to do that at the NHL level, but if they can get like a fourth liner or a third liner out of that, I think that's worth it. Rangers, why are you drinking the stupid juice? Patrick Nemeth for $2.5 million? Patrick Nemeth isn't even NHL caliber, dude. He was a mess in that series with Colorado. Let's look up our old friend, Patrick Nemeth. I mean, you're looking at bottom sixer. Like, he was rough in that playoff series. So, yeah, Patrick Nemeth. Drinking the stupid juice. Zach Lesk for 2. Thoughts on the Panthers' current roster? I think they're trying to build a bunch of different pieces there. Let's actually look up their issues on Cap Friendly right now. They've got some big contracts coming up. So especially with the type of Florida, you're dealing with this guy right here, Alex Barkov. He's a free agent next year. Petrano's a free agent. Achari's a free agent. Huberdeau and Hornqvist are free agents after next year in 2023. Sam Bennett, you're hoping he's going to actually live up to his potential instead of being like a short sample size and thriving on that. Duclair's not bad at 3. Ekblad, you're not going to have issues on defense for a while. Uyghur, Ekblad. I mean, Uyghur's going to demand a big pay raise. Like, I don't know if you're going to be able to keep him around. But Ekblad's going to be around for a hot minute. Hopefully he recovers. Montour is a huge gamble, especially at 3.5. Like, I mean, you're hoping he turns into what he was in Anaheim instead of the trash fire he was in Buffalo. Gustav Forsling's a decent, like, option right there. This contract's going to kill you, though, Bobrovsky. So, I don't know what you do. I mean, you bought out Yandel. I mean, I don't know if I really agree with it, especially with next year cap hit. Next year, you already have like $55 million invested, and you have to sign a bunch of players. So you're going to be a little bit rough, especially with that Yandel contract. So, and they're still paying Scott Darling, by the way. So, fortunately, that Luongo recapture ends after next year. So, yeah, good times. Very, very good times. James Reimer back in San Jose for $2.25 million. Jared Tenorti for $900K prize, a minor leaguer. Luke Glendening, that Detroit connection with Jim Nill for $1.5 million. Alec Martinez at 35 or 36, 3 years, $5.25 million, which is like, ugh. Like Alec Martinez is a good player, but you have $212,000 left. You got to sign Nolan Patrick. You've got to make another move. And I don't know who you trade. You already traded Fleury. You already got rid of his contract. Do you move Riley Smith or Marchessault? Because it looks like you're just adding a bunch of guys and not really worrying about chemistry. So what do you do? Vegas is getting too desperate. I think that's going to be the real problem there, especially with how they keep like amplifying pieces and changing and changing and changing. I get the idea behind it, but I feel like it's just too knee-jerk, especially with their situation. Let's keep going here. Rook Yokune Ayazawa, Chicago, your idiocy is showing 9.5 by 8 for a regressing Seth Jones. The thing with Rook, the thing with that is you are paying for the idea of peak Seth Jones. But even peak Seth Jones, I don't know if I give him $9.5 million. Like, you paid him at least $2.5 million too much. And not for 8 years. Dear God. Like, Caleb Jones, have fun with your brother there. But it's going to hell. It is absolutely going to hell. Spencer Young for 20 is a Wild fan. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on our most recent acquisition from the Pens and Freddie Gaudreau. Frederick Gaudreau actually was a decent bottom fourth liner for us last year. He was relatively serviceable on the penalty kill, was meant as like AHL depth, but came into his own. Like, he'll be okay in a pinch if you need the thing. I don't know if you like can really see him as like a full-time bottom sixer, but as like an extra forward, I think you can do a lot worse. So I think he'll be okay there. I don't know how to say this name, unfortunately. For 110 rubles, name's Ivan. Howdy. When you say you're demonetized, like every stream, is the video really demonetized, or is it just a standing joke now? Sometimes it's true, but most times it's a standing joke. I just talk about it being demonetized. But it looks like the Dougie Hamilton deal is now apparently going to be rumored 7 years for $60 million, which we will take a look at real quick. Let me see if Dougie Hamilton has been confirmed. Oh, Curtis Gabriel signs a 1-year deal with Toronto, too, by the way. 80 contracts in free agency. So, unfortunately, yes. Oh, by the way, Starling Marte is now an Oakland Athletic for Jesus Luzardo. So, interesting trade from the Oakland Athletics. So, I don't know what you do with Ramon Laureano in that situation. We'll talk about that maybe on Friday. Keyword maybe, because this is kind of a mess. The Hurricane signing literal cancer. Dmitry Yashkin is back in the NHL with the Arizona Coyotes. We'll keep going here. Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, nice bottom sixer, but his name is too long. Okay. But, yeah, 36, not bad for what it is. Chef's kiss. Let's keep going here. Yep, Sean Corrali as well. Let's keep looking at this Jack Eichel. What are the rumors going on there? My sense, talking to a few people, is that Buffalo is in serious talks with multiple teams. The process hasn't zeroed in on just one team yet, and I don't think the Sabres feel it has to be done today if they don't get the package they want. They're absolutely right. I mean, with Jack Eichel, you're probably trading him at his lowest value, but Eichel, they're going to want a big package for Eichel, which is completely understandable, which means he's getting traded for probable peanuts, which is absolutely BS. Midcast for 5 as a new hockey fan. Is Vegas making good moves to be good or holding on? They're trying to hold on. They're trying to get back to that next level and trying to crack it, but they can't seem to do it. That's going to be the problem right there. Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting move for Vegas. I feel like they're getting desperate and they're trying to go all in again. Yet at the same time, it's kind of an issue there. But I see something in my background there. Ethan, get well soon, buddy. Fuck your ankle and fuck your ankle surgery. If the Ducks are the only team that has literally done nothing, but I mean, the Ducks, they're in a weird situation because they're trying to rebuild. I don't know how to do it right now. The Sharks want to move Carlson. Nobody's taking on that contract, not even at 50%. With how bad he was last year? Yeah. No. Have fun with that. Yeah, Anush, I think like they are trying to panic. I mean, they're trying to build a super team, but at the same time, they can't really get over the hump. And the problem is they know their window is like maybe they're starting to have issues with it because, they just lost to a team they should have crushed in Montreal. And they're not there. I don't know what you really do if you're Vegas. And I feel like they're just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping they get that. For the Isles, they won't announce anything until after 4. The rumor is they're after Zach Parise. That is the big rumor with them. So we will see what happens there in the meantime. I don't know why 2,200 people are watching this right now, but welcome. Thank you for joining me on this fantastic occasion of being a disastrous stream with disastrous proportions. We'll keep going here in the meantime. Just your name on there. Do you think the Devils make any more moves today? The big rumor is Dougie Hamilton. That is the big fish they're apparently going after, but it's not absolutely official right now. But we'll maybe see what happens there at that point. Matthew R for 2 is Bill Zito a god or what? I don't know, man. I mean, we'll see if those contracts are worth it because they're big risks, especially if you think they're short sample sizes, like Montour and Sam Bennett. That could hurt them in the long run if they are not what they are. We'll keep going, though. Jay Rivers, Devils not confirming Hamilton is driving nuts. Yep, they're just waiting for the confirmation right now. That's going to be your issue at that point. But it is what it is. Warmed Warner for 2. Seattle just got Philip Grubauer. Yep, they got him for 6x6 pretty much. So what do you do with that goaltending situation now? Because Drieger's probably your backup. DeCord's probably in the minors. You could probably slip him through waivers. What do you do with Vanacek? What do you absolutely do with Vanacek? I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. I could not tell you one bit. But we will keep going here in the meantime. We got a few more contracts to go over. Andrew Cogliano, 1 year for $1 million, bottom sixer. I don't think Cogliano's the same anymore. I think that's probably a twilight deal. Your replacement for Braden Holtbeast, Yaroslav Halak. So he gets back into his 2010 form when he was just dominating the Capitals and Penguins. Maybe all that good stuff happens there. Peter Marazzic, 3 years at $3.8 million. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Marazzic as a goalie, but he's very inconsistent. So if you're looking for consistency in your goalie, Marazzic ain't it. Brian Elliott is now the replacement for Curtis McBackup. I think Brian Elliott was a member of the Lightning at one point, if I remember correctly. Let me take a look real quick. I want to say, no, he actually wasn't. I must be thinking of something else. That's my bad. He was a member of the Avs in the Sens. I thought he was a member of the Lightning. That's my bad. So this is his first time with the Lightning. Keith Yandel signs with the Flyers, $950K, which is actually pretty good. I mean, Yandel can still play at a decent rate. Getzlaf is back in Anaheim, probably at a much cheaper rate. So the Ducks do get something. They have done something. Jonathan Bernier, 2 years at $4.1 million, which I still think is kind of steep, but he did well in Detroit last year. We'll see. I did mention Corrali for 2.5. Chris Weidman, he had a good year in the KHL, sorry. So probably like an AHL guy may go up to the NHL. Nate Thompson, bottom sixer, back in Philly for $800K. Tucker Poolman for $2.5 million for 4 years. I haven't really seen much of Tucker Poolman, but Winnipeg's defense was really, really bad. And you paid this $2.5 million. Something's not adding up. Like, maybe I can see this base statistics is $2.5 million, but this, with how bad he looked, what? Okay, let's look up our good friend Tucker Poolman. I thought he did better than this last year. Yeah. These are his analytics. 2 years at $4.5 million, has struggled quite a bit, and he played elevated minutes, which, I mean, he did a little better defensively. Maybe they're seeing these tractions. But third pairing, yeah. See, this is the kind of shit we give Jim Benning for on day one of free agency. He did the same thing with Antoine Roussel and Jay Beagle, but at least they were proven commodities. This is, yeah. Vancouver, woohoo! Have fun. Oh, Epic! Today was definitely better than last year. I should have actually started earlier, unfortunately, but I thought, oh, there's no tampering period, nobody's going to sign, and now everybody's signing. That's great. And yes, I agree. Nedeljkovic for a third. Yeah, I agree. That's absolutely terrible. How do you give him for a third round pick? That is terrible. That's fun. Penguins aren't fucked till next year, Mr. Bones. They are going to be fucked when let me bring up cap friendly real quick again, because here's the situation the Penguins are going to deal with after next year. Because this year is probably like the last dance. Malkin's a UFA. He's coming off major surgery. He might be gone. Brian Rust is going to demand huge money. He's probably gone. Dick Gensel might end up being traded if the right situation arises. Kapanen's arbitration eligible. Jeff Carter's a UFA. Slick Hang's a UFA. And, I mean, he's probably gone too. I mean, I hope they don't give him another pay raise for continuity's sake. Casey Smith's a free agent. I mean, there's going to be a lot of turnover in this team next year, and this might be their last shot before they have to rebuild. Oh, by the way, Frederick Gaudreau, $1.2 million for 2 years. I think that's relatively fair for what he did. I mean, you might think it's a little high, but he did all right in the fourth line and on the penalty kill. So I think you're getting a decent guy here. Sven Berchi, probably for the AHL. Decent scorer, never really made it at the NHL level per se. Issues, he doesn't play defense or gritty or hard. He's a soft European. Carter Verhaeghe gets paid. Absolutely agree with that. Gage Quinney signed. Josh Labo, 1 year, $750K, so probably a fourth liner AHL guy. Carter Hutton is the new backup for probably Darcy Kemper or someone else if they trade him. Ian Cole for 1 year, 2.9 is not too bad. I like that deal. It's a lot better than 4 years for Cody Ceci. Oh, God. Michael Delzato, 2 years, $2 million, so probably another body that's probably going to flop in his face. Kara for 2 years for Chicago. Oh, by the way, does anyone know what the fuck Chicago's doing? I thought they were rebuilding, and now they're going after Seth Jones and Marc-Andre Fleury and Tyler Johnson. Yeah. By the way, speaking of Avs fans, Travis Herco for 20. Yay! The Avalanche re-signed Landy, but lose Group. Great. We better do something and get a halfway decent goalie. Yeah. Losing Grubauer is brutal, especially since we don't know if Francouz is coming back. So what do? Do you go trade for Kemper? I feel like that's the only option you have right now, unless you can maybe trade for Vanacek or Drieger. But I don't know what you really do. And Dallas, too, maybe you take one of their goalies on. Jara for €5. D'Angelo, car thoughts? Am I late? No, you're not late. D'Angelo is he's a great player, but he's total cancer. So signing him to Carolina when you have Jake Bean, who has the offensive upside, and don't want to pay Alex Nedeljkovic yet. You're paying Freddie Anderson, who's incredibly inconsistent. Yeah. Well, who's going to be in net? So you go from questions in net to even more questions in net, and I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I could not explain it to you. Nick Patan for 2 years at $750, never really panned out. Probably AHL guy. Chase DeLeo, another AHL guy, 1 year, $750K. Alex Wenberg gets a nice bounce back deal, $4.5 million. Seattle has a lot of cap to burn, so that helps out. Same as Grubauer. Jake McCabe, if he's healthy, he's all right, a 4x4. So Chicago's trying to go all in. This is a nice one. Philip Deneau, 6 years, $5.5 million. Vegas was rumored in on him. I think Montreal was trying to get him back, but the Kings strike and get a really damn good defensive forward. So you knew he was getting paid. He got paid. Congratulations. Nick Bonino, back where it started. San Jose. He was actually drafted by San Jose in, I think, 2007. $2.05 million per year for 2 years. So welcome back, Nick Bonino. I hope you're as much as a Warrior as you were in Pittsburgh. Jaden Schwartz, 5 years, 5.5. No. Problem with Jaden Schwartz, he's a decent player, but you're looking at a guy on the other side of 30. Oh, he's 29, but he's going to be 30 next year. He's been constantly injured. He had a rough year last year. And unless you're getting peak Jaden Schwartz, that's not worth it to me. You're paying too much. You're absolutely paying too much, but I guess Carolina had the space. Or sorry, not Carolina. I'm thinking franchise is still in Carolina. Seattle is paying too much in that regard there. Anthony Richard signed for 1 year. Ryan Murphy, Greg McKay, Dryden Hunt, now a Ranger. So the Rangers are loading up on that bottom six grit. Andrew Cogliano again. Tomas Nosek, 1.75 mil for 2 years. Eric Holla, 2.3 for 2 years. So maybe it'll help their depth issues out. Yep, Tony DeAngelo is officially confirmed. Same as Dmitry Yashkin, Juho Lammikko back, John Lazat, Curtis Gabriel, Gavin Bayreuther is actually back in Columbus. So why did Seattle draft Bayreuther if he's just going back? Tyler Sakura as well. Trevor Lewis. David Comp for 1.5 mil, which is like, I mean, very, very meh. But otherwise, I don't know what you say. I really don't know what you say there. Declan May for 5. And I wanted to ask, in your opinion, what was the greatest Pittsburgh sports moment you ever witnessed live, and what was your experience seeing that? Greatest Pittsburgh sports moment for me was the 2009 AFC Championship game against Baltimore. The big moment was Troy Polamalu in the fourth quarter returning an interception for a touchdown to seal the game. I mean, that place exploded after that. I mean, straight up exploded. I mean, I just turned 21 too, so it was very, very interesting, and it was a lot of fun. I will say that. Thanks, Mikey G, for 5. Canceling my Kane season tickets over the Tony DeAngelo signing. Guess I'll have some more time to go to the Durham Bulls games. Don't blame me, dude. Not just for DeAngelo, but for what they're doing in net. Like, I don't know what they're doing. I really don't. Mini Marksman for 5. Which fan base's optimism is dead, and why is it Edmonton? Not just Edmonton. Carolina and Colorado, too. Colorado just lost our good friend in Philip Grubauer. So now, I don't know what they're doing in net. I really don't know. Jonas for 5.49 in euros. Canadian water is made from stupid juice and hockey menus. What's the best move a Canadian team even made? What's the best? I'm trying to think. I like the Bunting deal for Toronto. I think that's an interesting buy low deal. I don't know. I could be a dick and say the Canadians drafting Logan Mailloux, but I don't think that's right. I think that's Bergevin being Bergevin and going right to the craps table, and it will somehow succeed because it's Mark Bergevin, and he put all of his money on fucking luck, or all of his skill points in luck, I should say. Yeah. John Pinkerton for 5 of the Pens kind of quiet here. Is that a cap issue? I'm not smart. It's a little bit of a cap issue, but I think they're rumored for a few pieces. I think the one piece I was really seeing as well, they do have 3.6 to play with. I mean, if they're going to make a move, it'll probably be trade. Or like small moves, like Brock Mcginn. And they signed Brock Mcginn for 4 years? Okay. Well, we signed Brock Mcginn for 4 years. So, yeah, that's I thought it was a 1 year deal, but I guess it's 4. Let's see here. Yeah, it just says 1 year and it says 2.75 for 4. Which, I mean, Brock McGinn's okay, but you're giving more bottom 6 for 4. Much to figure out which one here, but I mean, like, I don't know if I give this 4 years. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I don't hate it, but it's just like, it's okay. Not that super crazy about it, but I think we're finally done with all the free agent madness in the meantime. But I did want to say in the meantime, Tucker White 94 for 5. Off topic of hockey for the moment, who do you think is going tanking in the NFL this year? It's probably the Texans. Has to be the Texans. It was absolutely fun. Troy Keegan for $2.99 is the time to dismantle in Washington. I don't think their core has gotten very stale. If we look at our old friend Cap Friendly here for the Washington Capitals, he threw 5 years for Ovechkin, and he's going to be paid till they're 40. Like, their core is locked up for a long time. So you can't blow it up just because there's just so much money owed to so many different pieces. and you have to pay Samsonov. Vanacek's gone, but you'll probably bring up Copley or sign like a veteran free agent and that. But yeah, they physically can't do anything because they're just like they're loyal to their old core. I've heard rumors about Kuznetsov being traded, and I can definitely see that because he's kind of worn out his welcome. But at the same time, there's not much you can really do there. But the big pieces we're waiting on is our good friends in, Tony DeAngelo, by the way, have fun. Jordan Martinook's back. All the fun times. Tony DeAngelo. Yeah, Brock Mcginn is a 4-year contract at 2.75, which is, that's okay. Nick Pryor is now the director of amateur scouting. Yep, his father, Chris, is the director of player personnel. Yep, Nick Seeler is now a 1-year deal, $750,000. But let's take a look at our old friend Dougie Hamilton, because I think the rumor is that Dougie Hamilton is going for, I think, 8 years, 50, which is around 6.2. But that's, I mean, you're not getting Dougie Hamilton for 6.2. But it looks like Hamilton is linked to New Jersey, but you're not getting Dougie Hamilton for 6.2. Come on, you're crazy. He's going to demand a lot more than that. Like, think at least 8, and then go up from there. There is no way you are getting that. No, that's good for the players. Anton Kopchenko, a typical Hextall offseason tree. He always sits on his ass and does hardly anything. Well, that was his biggest issue in Philadelphia. He was very conservative, especially later on. So that's really all you can say there. But, JR, it's a 7x60-ish. That was the offer that Carolina did. So 760. Yeah, it's looking like 7 years, $60 million for Dougie Hamilton. Super Mario, I have not watched that new Space Jam movie, and I really don't have interest in that. Matt, I love the trade for Pavel Buchnevich, especially for the Blues. I think he's a great top 6 winger. I think he had a great season last year. Well, actually, it's nice to cut people in the NFL, but it gives more security to the player. So that's really all I can really say about that. You say Saros hasn't been signed either. Ooh, geez. So Saros would actually be an intriguing piece. Let's see where Saros is. See how old Nashville's doing here. Yeah, you say Saros, but he's ARB eligible, so he'll be okay. He's still Nashville property. You have $20 million. You have Tolvanen, Fabro, Saros. They'll be okay. They're absolutely okay in that regard. But anyone really like over the cap? Like Tampa Bay's kind of over. Chicago's got themselves in cap hell. Dallas. I mean, you've got some teams already in cap hell. Like Chicago threw themselves in cap hell already. So you got to sign. Hagel's going to need arbitration. And Nylander's going to need arbitration, even though he's injured. So they're going to have to make another move. I don't know what it is, but they're going to have to need another move. Andrew Shaw is already on IR, so he's not coming back, unfortunately. He's a career ender. You can probably ship off like a Ryan Carpenter somewhere, and you might be okay. Keyword is might. But, yeah, good times. Good times from our friends in Chicago and all the other places. We got some big news. Yimi Garcia is going to Houston per Ken Rosenthal, so more baseball-ish. But we'll take a look at our old friend Yimi Garcia. I know this is a hockey stream. Sue me. I don't give a shit. Yep, it looks like they're close on Yimi Garcia. So he has 15 saves on the season. So the Astros are loading up for their bullpen, which is huge because they got a really nice piece in Kendall Graveman last night. Yeah, but I heard something from Wojnarowski as well, talking about our good friend in Ben Simmons. So Ben Simmons is going to China, right? The Shanghai Sharks. So that's where he's being traded to. Xavier Howard, Steelers. Please trade for Xavier Howard. He's a fucking beast, by the way. Vinny Hinostroza, the big piece. And I'll refresh my notifications there. Trevor Lewis, bottom six type, not too bad. Let me do a little shit posting here, because that's what everyone's here for, right? Josh Lavo, Tony D'Angelo. Hold on. Fun times. Very, very fun times. And it looks like Arenado just got injured too. That's great. That is absolutely great. Super Mario Harvey, Suter is now a member of the Dallas Stars, so they will be separate potentially. Typical Sweeney year. Sweeney has signed a couple bottom six pieces, Eric Hala and Thomas Nosek. So that's really all I can say there. Surprised 2,000 people are watching this shit right now. So thank you all for joining me on this brief stream-ish, because, just not much going on right now. I'll probably keep going for a little bit longer, but I'm just hoping stuff happens in the meantime. I wish this were more professional. It's just I'm out and about, so I can't really do too much, unfortunately, there. Talking about dead air. Oh, there's always dead air. You know that. I'm the king of dead air. Going Casey McGuire. Come on. Casey McIntyre for 5. Red Wings being quiet so far. Nice to see Stevie White hypnotizing other GMs again. Red Wings have had a decent offseason so far. Getting Nedeljkovic, maybe potentially getting your goaltender right there. So not too bad on that regard. Mega Man 569 for 5. Hey, Utree, what do you think is happening in Anaheim? They've been awfully quiet. They did re-sign Ryan Getzlaf, though. So I'm guessing they don't like the prices. That's the only thing I can think of with Anaheim. That's all I can think of. Chili 102 for 5. If you look at the awards honors section of Jared Tenorti's Wikipedia page, you'll know exactly why the Rangers signed him. Oh, yeah. Big physical forward, really gritty. So that's all the Rangers have been doing, getting all that grit and that sandpaper. Because they got broken by Tom Wilson. Burn the guitarist for 5. Goodbye, Grooves. No idea what we'll do with goalie now. Yeah, I agree. I don't know what you do. I'm guessing Seattle swooped in and stole him in the middle of the night. That is a surprise. So I would guess the only thing I could say is Darcy Kemper. That is the only option I have. Because once again, I don't know if Francouz is coming back. And if he is, I don't know if he's going to be the same. Declan, no, you did not miss anything on the Buffalo-Anaheim trade. So you are absolutely good there. Yeah, and just for confirmation, no, you did not miss anything on that. You are absolutely fine. Glass, I think they both retire. Marlowe did not look the same as he was. Thornton was just he was more just a benefactor of being on a line with Matthews and Marner. So I think, unfortunately, they're both done. And it sucks because they're really good. Oh, Subban? Yeah, I agree. I said they were going to be aggressive in free agency. And, poaching a goaltender from a cup contender, I'd say that's being pretty aggressive. Yes, Joe, I think they are signing with the Isles. Absolutely agree. Red Wings have signed Jordan Osterley, so that's probably like an AHL piece. Kegmaster, the Caps aren't doing anything because they don't really have the cap to do anything, per se. They signed Ovechkin to that load, and that's all you can really do. And I already got a 50. Jesus. I'll throw that up right now. As a Jackets fan, I am thrilled with this offseason. We made the Blackhawks drown in the stupid juice and got Voracek back. Yes, seeing a fan favorite like Atkinson go is sad, but Voracek is a great fit with Laine and Nyquist. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Columbus has done well. They're forced to restart, and they had to trade somebody in Seth Jones. Jones, you got a premium for him. I mean, Laine, you might end up trading him, but at the same time, somebody's going to bite on the name. And, Voracek, he can still put up points. He's not what he was, but I think he's still pretty good. I think he's absolutely still pretty good. Yeah, Isaac, I'm absolutely stunned by that for both teams because I don't know what Seattle does at goaltender, especially with Vanacek. And Colorado is straight fucked unless they can figure it out. Mini Marksman, Ottawa still has $30 million in space because all they do is just get fucked. They're always by the floor. That's just how Melnick runs that damn team. So be careful with that one. Adam Young for $20 Canadian. If you think the Nemeth deal is bad, then what are your thoughts on Benning doing his thing and signing Tucker Poolman to $10 million? Pretty comparable players and signings. Yeah, I was looking at that earlier, Adam. It's just it's fucking hilarious because he had a bad year last year, and just bad. I'm like, oh, woof. Very, very much a wolf. Dylan Philpott for $2. How the hell did we get Laine back? Oh, you got Laine back because he is being he's ARB eligible. That's the only reason. You can always trade him after, but maybe he does better in a system that does not involve Mountain Tortorella. Anthony Falone for $2 Canadian. So the Canucks signing Halak. Thoughts? He's just a stopgap to replace Braden Holtby and Edmonton or Vancouver and Jim Benning drinking the stupid juice. That's what it is. Christian Messina for $2.79 Canadian. Thoughts on the Canucks decor, better or worse? I'd say it's relatively the same. OEL, unless you can guarantee me the OEL that he was in 2016 or 2017. But it looks like the Zach Hyman deal is now confirmed from what it looks like. I will just do it. Oh, my God. 5.5 for Hyman? Jesus Christ. Oh, my. Ow. Don't get me wrong. Zach Hyman is a solid heart and soul player. But he's more what's his best? He's like a poor man's Chris Kunitz. He's the kind of guy who's going to be more a passenger on those lines. He's a good penalty killer, but you are not paying this $5.5 million for 7 years, especially when he's 29. These players don't age well, dude. And Holland is a stupid juice. Woo! Everybody's drinking the stupid juice tonight. Maybe the stupid juice is whiskey. Yeah. Well, I agree. 7 years for that. Let's take a look at Edmonton's situation right now because it is fucking hilarious. Look at that defensive core. Darnell Nurse, who's been a mess defensively. Duncan Keith for 2 more years with no retention. Tyson Berry, who's literally being he's just pure offense. He's a rich man's Marc-Andre Bergeron for 4.5. Clefbaum's not playing. Cody Ceci for 3.2 as a top 4. Chris Russell, Evan Bouchard, and William Lagesson. That defense is fucking terrible. Dear God. Unless you can guarantee me Clefbaum's coming back in his old form, and suddenly then that is a trash heap of a defense. You are just relying on these guys again. Think about this. You're paying Zach Hyman more than Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Fucking think about that. I would easily take Nugent-Hopkins over Hyman. Don't get me wrong. Hyman's a good heart and soul guy, but dude, more than Nugent-Hopkins? Fuck off. Dear mother of God. That's rough. I need liquor. I just need complete total amounts of liquor from seeing that terrible contract. Oh my God. And okay, it looks like Braden Point got a massive extension too. Let's take a look at this. 8 by 9.5. And I'd rather play Braden Point than 8 and 9.5 than deal that with Seth fucking Jones. So, I mean, Point was going to get paid. Wait, not Paint. I can't spell. So sorry. Come on. Yeah, Braden Points. Yeah, it looks like 8 years, 9.5 mil. That's definitely worth it, especially with how well he did in the playoffs. Like, he was going to get paid. That fucker got paid. And, I mean, I'm absolutely unsurprised by that. I think that'll have good value. So I would absolutely rather have Braden Point at 8 years, 9.5 than fucking this guy at 8 years, 9.5. So, yeah, I don't know. Seth Jones, and you're hoping for the idea, or would you rather have a guy who's good right now at 9.5? Dude, I'd rather have Cale Makar at 9. So, yeah. Yeah, this sports ball vid I'm going to be doing is it's going to be something. It's going to absolutely be something. But, yeah, Point got paid. I'm absolutely agreed. Henderson, yes, the Seabrook trade. I did mention this earlier. With Seabrook, you're just sitting there like you go from guys that like Seabrook became one of the biggest albatross contracts to a pure asset just because you could bury that contract. Well, Herbert, you can do better Seth Jones than Duncan Keith, but Seth Jones costs $4 million a year more and is under contract for a lot longer. Duncan Keith, you could have just bought out and been absolutely fine. No, Jonah. The locale is Edmonton. It is absolutely Edmonton. Jinxstar on Ranta. Ranta's the rumor. It has not been confirmed yet. But Antti Ranta, Antti Ranta is a great goalie when he's healthy. So who's staying healthy? Who is staying healthy right now for Carolina? That's my question. That is my honest-to-God question right now. Hey, Rivers for 2. Will Hurricanes miss the playoffs without Hamilton? I don't think they miss the playoffs. Florida's going to be there. Toronto's probably going to be there. Tampa's going to be there. So your biggest competition would be Montreal, and we don't know how Carey Price is going to be. I think they'll be contenders for a wild card spot. Carolina. Oh wait, Carolina's in the Metro. What the fuck am I doing? Carolina definitely makes it. Like the Metro's still in flux. Shannon for 5. For those about to fleece the Blackhawks, fire. Cannon fires. Lemon for 5. Should the Bruins make a move on Foligno since they haven't done anything so far like usual in free agency? No. Nick Foligno's more of the bottom 6 type. They'd already signed in Nosek and Hala, so that wouldn't really do much anything. Burrito for $279 Canadian. Anything the Oilers can do to fix their offseason. Melt off Ken Holland's face to reveal that it is merely Peter Chiarelli behind a mask. Like, that is all you can really do. Steel City Ranger for 2. Will the Pens use Poolman and Leggery this year? Maybe. I hope so. I'm really interested to see what they can do, especially in the NHL. Brian Chua for 2. Thoughts on the Kings signing Danault to 6 years? I like it. I mean, Danault's like 28, defensive centers age with a little more grace because they're not worried about physical attributes that much. They're more on smarts and positioning. So Danault should do all right for those 6 years, even if they have to drop him to like third-line role later on. So I think they'll be okay there. Harrison S. for 5. Hey, Tree VGK fan here. What would it take to get Eichel? Also can't wait for sports ball. For Eichel, the rumor I'm hearing is Riley Smith, Peyton Krebs, I think another prospect and a first. But, yeah, I mean, you're going to have to give up a premium, and you're going to have to take remove salary in some way. So Riley Smith would be a remove, like, for partially. But I don't know how else you get Eichel. I mean, the only way would be you'd have to remove more salary and make it valuable for Buffalo, even though, like, Eichel's probably being moved. He might not be moved for a couple of days. But we did get our good friend Zach Hyman, who got fucking paid. But I think Toronto, I would not have signed him at 5.5. No way. dear God, I run from that contract. No big trades just yet. We'll see what's going on for what to do. Matt Luff is going to Nashville. So, by the way, Matt Luff is Nashville, but Braden Point has been confirmed. Marshawn Lynch being here to not get fined. But yes, Yimi Garcia is now officially a Houston Astros. So the Astros are loading up on bullpen. So those of you who are interested, by the way. Let's take a look at these. UFA still on the board. Getzlaf is still available. Apparently he's been confirmed. Parise has been rumored. Krejci's still available. Rask is still available. Stepan, he's not getting signed. Backus, probably not. Sod's the big free agent too, so he'll probably be on the board. Zajac, Dougie Hamilton's been rumored, but nothing confirmed. How much Tatar? I don't know what you do with him because he had a decent year, but he did not play in the playoffs. So I don't know what you do there. I'm going to be completely honest. Niskanen, he's done. Dubinsky's done. Bozak's done. Foligno, you're getting him on probably a 1 or 2 year deal, probably his bottom 6 depth. And by the way, Toronto paid first round pick for 7 games of him. So have fun with that. Yep, the Braden Point deal is officially confirmed, and it is a doozy of a deal. It's actually a really good deal considering he got him under 10. So I'm absolutely fine. Gavin, he's coming home. Honestly, I know this is apparently a hot take. I don't want anything to do with Fleury. I have too many bad nightmares about his stints from 2010 to 2014, and he was a fucking trash heap. It was bad. You don't understand. It was just bad goal after bad goal. Think that Stanley Cup goal that he gave up against Montreal in game, I think it was 3, where he misplayed the puck behind the net. Now, he did that at least 5 to 6 times a year, maybe more, because it was just that's Marc-Andre Fleury. That's what he did. So you just got to be careful with that. So and you also have to remember, reunions for the second time usually don't work. So remember, Fleury's 36. He's in a better defensive structure. The Penguins have terrible defensive structure. So, but yeah, Dante, Buffalo's trying to play their cards right. But the problem is you're in a rough situation because if you wait too long and Eichel doesn't want to play, then you just drop his value. So Rangers, I think, are an option. Anaheim, I think the Kings are out because they had signed Philip Grubauer. I think he was a better fit in LA there anyway. But yeah, Bernier accidentally leaked the signing. That makes sense. But I mean, it still hasn't been official yet. Wait, I thought Bozak was re-signed. I thought he had a career-ending injury. I thought he was dealing with that. I know Steen has the career-ending injury, but Bozak, I thought I know. Excuse me. I thought he had dealt with a season-ending injury or something. So I wasn't sure if he was done or not. But we'll definitely see. Looks like Ryan Dzingel is going to Arizona, the island of misfit toys. So surprisingly, it's not a bad contract going that way. Justin Solomita, what software do you use to live stream? Justin, I'm using StreamYard right now. I'm using something different this time. I usually use XSplit, but I feel like it gets too inconsistent sometimes. So I feel like this is a little easier to maneuver around. That and also I'm limited right now because I'm in a hotel room. So that's why it's the production's a lot lower than usual, and that's why there's also even less light than there usually is. Because I am unfortunately in a hotel room, and it's rough. It's good times. Okay, Bozak had a concussion but came back. Okay, that makes sense. I'm sorry, I thought he was out. I'm kind of out. I'm not a fan of OBS. I'm not crazy about OBS. I just think it's too basic, at least for me. We'll keep going here. Troy Keegan for 5. Would you ever make a Pro Lacrosse League video? Premier Lacrosse League? It's just I need more information about it. I don't marinate in lacrosse, so unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be that good if I do. So if I would have to do it, I'd have to outsource it. Alex Figueroa for 5. Did you see Mike Sullivan was named as Team USA's head coach for the 2022 Olympic Games? Yes, I have. And I hope he does better than the last Penguins coach that coached the U.S. men's Olympic hockey team, Dan Bilesma, who coached them to be dog shit. So that was good. Joe Northern for $2.99. Ever consider going daily? You'd be damn good. Like what? Streaming daily? I don't know. I don't think I'm much of a streaming channel, unfortunately. So I like to reserve these for special occasions. And I feel like streaming, it kind of takes a bit out of you. And I don't know. I really don't know, I'd say. Sean Anderson for £5. Does Vegas getting Dadonov mean Schmidt or Marchessault is out for Eichel? I think so. There's no other reason you get Dadonov unless you're using like Smith and or Marchessault as trade, especially with they're currently in cap hell and they need to re-sign a couple guys. So once again, let's look up Vegas real quick here. Yeah, they have $212 million in cap space, and they still have to sign like Nolan Patrick and a couple other guys. Plus, Gage Quinney has been re-signed as well. So this doesn't make sense unless there is another move happening, maybe several moves. Because, I mean, your big pieces to trade right now, you're not trading Carlson, Pacioretty and Stone, you're not trading. Dadonov, you just traded unless you're flipping him like for 50% retention. Tuck, you are nowhere near trading. Chandler Stevenson, you are not trading at that. Reeves, maybe you might trade. Your only options are Marchessault, Smith, and Reeves. Like, those are your only options right now. Those would be the only guys I'd really trade, per se, especially on this team. Because you already traded Fleury, and that's why you got Dadonov, which it's and Brossoit, too. So I don't know what you do. Stephen Petrovelli, can I get a Yinzer? Steelers going to the Super Bowl. Hold on. The voice is a little shot from all this talking, but Steelers get a Super Bowl. I wish they're probably not. EMEDM. Or I got to move up here again. For 5, do the Red Wings use their cap space or wait another year before getting aggressive? I think they wait another year before they get aggressive because they're still in that rebuilding phase. They're still trying to formulate their core. So I think they wait a little bit, and they wait for guys like Seider to really emerge. They wait for Lucas Raymond. They wait for guys like that. Joe Veleno, maybe. They wait for them to emerge. Then they go. Austin Ems for $279 Canadian. What do you think about the Kings getting Dano? I love it for them. I think he's a great defensive center. I think it's what they need, and I think it's a future piece of their core. Brian for 5, where does New Jersey go from here? And I still think Hughes needs more winger help along with Hischier staying healthy. Hischier, sorry, not Hischier. I'm losing my mind. Apparently, the rumor is Dougie Hamilton's going to New Jersey, which is a huge get for their defense. I mean, it would put a lot of pressure away from PK so he can just be like a power play specialist and maybe like not get like overexposed on those minutes. So we will absolutely see in that regard there. But I think that's their option, plus making extra trades. Not Billy Shears for 5. Making fun of the Kings is justified, but I kind of like the round of signing if we cover him in bubble wrap. Yeah, I agree. I like Antti Raanta as a goalie. The problem is he can't stay healthy. So, like, that's my problem with it. I mean, I would like the Raanta signing for anyone except Carolina when you are dealing with goaltending questions, especially with signing Freddie Anderson, who had probably the worst career of his tenure in a long time. So you went from more goaltending issues to more goaltending issues. And also some bad news from Coach Ricks. ZZ Top bassist Dusty Hill is dead at 72. That sucks, man. ZZ Top was a damn good band. F's in the chat for Dusty Hill. But yeah, Jack CMC point extended 9.5. I love it. I love it for them because point is the kind of game changer that you need to keep. So you're absolutely fine in that regard. In the meantime, Hurricane JD for 5. I have a feeling D'Angelo is likely going to completely ruin the Hurricanes fan base and turn us into Boston fans. God help us all. Ugh. Yeah, that's it's an interesting time. I mean, I figured D'Angelo would have been going to Montreal, because certain things that happened. But that's your replacement for Dougie Hamilton, and it's like you're signing pure cancer. That's what you're signing right now. It's not good. American Weather for 5. Thoughts on Vegas? I think they're getting desperate because they haven't really reached that peak yet. And they're going to try and amplify until they get to the point where they just hit a massive wall and they're just done. Or they have an issue where stuff just goes haywire or like they win. That's what's going to be the issue right now, especially with the Vegas. Like they're going to have to make another move, and I think they're going to go for another big piece like a Jack Eichel or somebody else because, I mean, you don't bring in Evgeny Dadonov without a backup option. That's the only thing I have. And if they have to trade, like, offload Riley Smith's contract for like a can of beans, that's not going to look good. So that's really about it. A Tom Howard for 5. Thank you, brother. Nick Shannon for 2 made a Makwa tree rain across the land. I agree, but Tom Grossi's being, and this Packers fandom is being really smug right now, and it fucking sucks. Sal for 2 thoughts. NFC North coming up. Also, watch more rugby. Yeah, I was kind of watching some rugby earlier. Like, it was just randomly on when I was on a treadmill at the gym. It wasn't bad. I mean, it's just weird without fans. It's just like, has anybody really paid attention to the Olympics this year? It's just like there's nothing. It's just like it's not the same. It's just like it just doesn't feel right. You know, it just feels soulless. It's just like no fans, like too many restrictions, too many things going on related to it. Like people have been more like not really talking about American Olympics. They've been talking about Simone Biles withdrawing due to her mental health. So that's not a good sign for the Olympics in general. And I think it's just because like they should have never played it. But the only reason why is because Japan's had to pay $20 billion for it, and the IOC needs that money. That is the only reason. That's, I mean, Winter Olympics is better. You're right. But that's really about it. I mean, Sparrow 8476, Hawks will make the playoffs. Legendary defense. Maybe if Fleury is playing. But Fleury might retire because he found out about this trade via fucking Twitter instead of being announced like, oh, yeah, you're being traded. It's like, wait, what? I'm being traded. So Seth Jones, Calvin DeHaan, Riley Stillman, Wyatt Kalynuk, Caleb Jones, and Jake McCabe. I wouldn't call it legendary per se. I think they make a move. I think the rumor is they're trying to trade Calvin DeHaan because you have an issue. You're overloaded on your left side right now. Excuse me. Throat's getting a little dry. Also, you need to sign Dominic Kubalik. So you're gonna be paying. Also, Luke Shen, 2 years, $850K because it's Vancouver. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. Womp, womp, womp. Excuse me. Danny States for 5. It's nice to see Ovi back in Washington, but for 5 years. I get he's the face of the franchise, but I feel he's going to fall off by year 3. It is a steep deal for 5 years, and he is going to die, but it's more a legacy contract. Because, like, look, you bundle off of this franchise, you helped them get a cup. Here's a couple extra years, and you can play out the rest of your career in Washington and be, like, one of the great legends, like, you know, like Mario Lemieux in Pittsburgh, or, say, for example, like a Bobby Orr in Boston, Gordie Howe in Detroit, Maurice Richard in Montreal. That's what they're aiming for. It's a legacy contract. It's what he did in the past, not what he's doing now. That's what they're doing. And it is a very damning issue for Washington, but I would have been absolutely shocked if Ovechkin went elsewhere. That's really about it, just because of just who he is. Daniel DRW for 100 Danish kroner. Now that the Kraken got all cap they wanted, what will they do with it? Because cap space is cool and all, but you can't really stuff $15 million into a jersey and ask it to play top-line center. Yeah, they still need to make a few more moves. I mean, they are at the cap floor. They did make a few moves. I mean, their biggest move was grabbing Philip Grubauer in the middle of the night, and he's probably going to be a good 1-2 tandem with Drieger. So that's your 1A and 1B. But I don't know what you do with Vanacek. I don't know what you do with the cord. And I don't know what you do with top flight center. Like Alex Wenberg is not a first line center. I think like he's like a second or third line guy, but he's not first line. I mean, there's a lot of guys you can flip around in this lineup. Jaden Schwartz, like I don't agree with signing him to that. I think he's too injury prone. I would have rather had Philip Deneau. Or I would have rather paid a little extra for Philip Deneau and plopped him on my second line and say, hey, go wreck hell. That's what I would have done. And they did lose Gavin Bayreuther, by the way. So I Seattle kind of shit the bed because they demanded too much in return for bad contracts, and now they didn't even get the best players available in some aspects. So I really don't know. I absolutely do not know. And I can tell you, Kuznetsov wouldn't be a bad idea, Trevor. Foligno is looking for Boston. Yep, Foligno apparently is going to Boston. So more bottom six. But once again, remember with Boston, they signed Nosek and Holla. So they're overhauling their bottom six. Because, like, their biggest issue come playoff time, especially in Boston, was the fact that their depth vanished again. And they're hoping, like, maybe some, like, reliable bottom six forwards like Holla and Nosek, who are actually for relatively reasonable rates. They didn't sign them for overly long, so in case they don't work out, they can just, like, buy them out for nothing or flip them. So that's actually not bad. Like, not like 7 years for Zach Hyman at a Lucic contract, by the way. So, yeah, you're paying Hyman as much as Lucic. So think of this as potentially Milan Lucic 2.0, even though Lucic has more talent and has a much greater track record. But, yeah. Edmonton is fucking terrible. And, oh, by the way, they also traded Ethan Bear for no fucking reason and brought in Warren Fogle for that good old Canadian grit. Tarasenko to Tampa, they don't have the cap space. There's no way. 3X on Wednesday got off work. Any update on Suter? Suter is with the Dallas Stars. He has been signed to a 4-year deal worth, like, I think 3 Pius Suter to Seattle? Pius Suter would be good. Ronta for a 2x2. I mean, Ronta, 2x2 is good, but once again, he's got to stay healthy. That's the only way that Antti Ronta decides to do stuff. Declan, Toronto decided not to panic. I agree with that. They should not panic because they still have pieces to build off of. I was afraid they were going to panic, but they should not panic. They are making the right move. I absolutely agree with that. They're just going after lower stuff, and that's all I can say. How many picks do the Coyotes have? A lot. And they needed those picks because if you think about it, like, they lost their first and second round picks the last couple of years because Don Shake is incompetent. So they have 5 second round picks next year. They had a bunch previous year. So they have this pick from Andrew Ladd. They have the Gostis Bear pick. They have the Aiden Hill pick. They have the OEL pick. This is also an Andrew Ladd pick in case Ladd plays X amount. That's another pick from, I think, what was that trade for? Stroman. Yeah, they also acquired Stroman. I forgot about that. That's for Aiden Hill as well, I believe. And actually, that was Wayne Peterson. Sorry. And this was the OEL trade as well. So Arizona does have some pieces to fill. They are eating a lot of contract money, but they are okay. They might trade Kemper for prospects. They have a lot of contracts expiring. Kessel's expiring. Ericsson's probably a body. Roussel and Beagle are bodies. Krause. Dzingel just got signed with them, by the way. Fisher. I mean, your only really bad contracts, per se, are Clayton Keller. I mean, he can always build up to that. Schmaltz and Dvorak. But even then, they're still okay. But those are just like the issues of Don Shaka. Armstrong's goal right now is to try and fix those fuck-ups so Arizona can try and restart again. And that's why they're doing what Shaka did in the beginning, but more on steroids, because they need to take on all this dead money just so they can survive. Like, that's really about it. That's the only reason why they're doing this right now. The Jets, they re-signed Paul Stastny. So he is back. I'm trying to think. I know they did something else, but I think it's just Schmidt and Stastny that have been re-signed. OEL was traded to the Canucks. So, yeah, getting rid of OEL was a huge thing. It was absolutely huge. The offseason video will probably come next week. I get back from vacation on, like, Sunday and Monday. So that's why this is, like, a little off-putting right now. I'm in a wonderful hotel. And all the good shit. Osa should retire as a Coyote. I agree, dude. I absolutely agree. Point extension, yep. Dude, the Pens don't have much to talk about. They just signed Jamie Mcginn. No, not Jamie Mcginn. Forget his name. I forget his goddamn name. Oh, no. Brock McGinn. Jamie Mcginn was his brother. So, yeah, he got signed to a 4-year deal, so probably bought him 6 depth. Evan Rodriguez is back, too. Penguins have a little bit of cap space to work with. The rumor, once again, is they're looking into acquiring some guys. They inquired about Milan Lucic. Kill me if that's the truth. Marijuana. Yeah, Matthias Janmark is staying in Vegas, too. So, once again, you got to make a move. 1 year, $2 million. I mean, yeah, that's a good deal for Matthias Janmark. I mean, they paid a lot to get him. But 1 year, $2 million for Matthias Janmark. Once again, you are now over the cap. And there has to be another move coming here. So now you're back in cap hell. Chicago's in cap hell too. Dallas, I think they threw themselves into cap hell as well. So yeah, $422,000. You got to pay Joel Kiviranta, which I mean shouldn't be too bad of an option. But at the same time, like he's still okay, and he'll probably require a little bit of a pay raise. You could probably get him for like $1 million and a quarter per year, and you'll be absolutely fine. But Dallas is also, Radulov and Pavelski are going to be UFAs too. Klingberg has been rumored as well. He's going to be UFA, demand big money. I don't know what you do in that because you have Hudobin. You have Ben Bishop, who might be, I don't know if he's coming back healthy. So if he goes on LTIR, ignore everything I said. But you also have Jake Ottinger. So do you keep him in the minors again? I thought he did okay last year. Yeah, like he did all right, like a 9.11 save percentage. I think he did all right. So I don't know why Dallas signed Holtby. I really don't, unless they are looking to make a move, maybe trade Hudobin. But even then, he has a no trade clause. But it's only 4 teams. Sorry about that. My voice is kind of dying on me. Well, 60 Dallas. Getting Jason Robertson is a huge get for them. I mean, his emergence has been great. So that's really all I can really say on that front. I mean, last year they got wrecked by injuries. I think it was kind of like I think they'll make the playoffs again. I don't know if they're going to make the cup. That's the main thing. Yeah, that's the thing. If they can put Bishop on LTIR, ignore everything I just said about Dallas. But Dobin, who do you trade him though? Like, do you trade him to the Pens? Because they do need a veteran backup goalie. I don't know what you get back, though. Picks. Hunter, no, you did not miss any disappointment from Ron Hextall. You're good there. He's just sitting on his laurels. Riley Dawson for 5 Canadian. Thoughts on the Flames getting Zadorov and signing Coleman? I mean, I think, I like the Coleman signing. I think he's a talented player. I know 5's a little rich, but I'd rather have Coleman at 5 or 6 than Zach Hyman at 5.5 or 7. In a heartbeat, I will take Blake Coleman every time. Easily. Joey Costello. Remember that Holland is the reason Detroit where they are right now. No. Didn't you remember? Detroit's biggest argument was that, they signed our good friend. It was Mike Ilitch, right? It wasn't Holland. Holland's still great, right? Right. Roscoe Segal, Ryan Tapera to Chicago. Also, it's me at My Man Foles. Yeah, Ryan Tapera to the White Sox. I think he was a Cub too. So good times. Steel and Steam Productions. They did it. Jones is gone. There was hope in San Jose. No. Not with that Erik Karlsson contract. Not with that Marc-Edouard Vlasic contract. Have fun with that, buddy. Lemon for $4.99. Rizzo to Boston. Possible. Hearing that will happen. Maybe a little reunion with Anthony Rizzo after trading him to the Padres. So it's very possible. He was a original Red Sox pick. Kurzov for 5. This just in. It's been announced that the Raleigh City water supply has been contaminated by the stupid juice. At least we still have the checkers. Yeah, there's a lot of stupid juice going around today. Ethan Kine Riddle for $1. Thank you. Benedict Andurs. I think the Devils are screwing up the Hamilton deal. Darren Drager last said about what's holding up the Hamilton negotiations. I don't know. Yeah. He should have been signed by now. So I don't know what's going on. Lizzo to the Leafs. Can you explain the garbage fire in the Blackhawks front office, or do we need a whole video on that? It is a trash fire. I think you need to more or less explain it because it's a bit complicated. But the basic gist of it was that a video, an analyst, he sexually assaulted 2 players, and he had threatened them physically. Like, there's a lot of heinous shit going on, and I completely understand. And this was also during their 2010 Cup year. That like 2 of their players, like they had told like another coach, and that coach went to guys like Stan Bowman and a few of the higher ups in Montreal. And if that's true, Stan Bowman is fucked. Like, he is insta suspended for life. Because I completely understand why this did not come out until 2020 or 2021. Because like that's humiliating, especially if you're like a man, like you're a hardcore NHL player. It's like, oh, you're just gonna party and do like fuck girls and do drugs like when you party, but like you're not supposed to be like this vulnerable person, especially in the hockey world where like being a good old like Canadian boy or like a good old North American boy is considered an ideal. Like being sexually assaulted like that, that's the ultimate humiliation. And it fucking sucks. It really does. I mean, apparently 2 other guys who may be involved are Kevin Cheveldayoff in Winnipeg and Marc Bergevin in Montreal, which makes it even more awkward because Bergevin said he didn't know anything, even though he just drafted Logan Mailloux when he told teams like, hey, I fucked up, don't draft me. And that whole situation's kind of fucked up as well, but that seems like that was just him being really immature instead of like being absolutely heinous like a Mitchell Miller or, the guy who, the video replay guy, who actually did go on to coach high schoolers and sexually assault a 17-year-old boy. So, yeah, that's a lot of fun. I will absolutely agree with that. So the whole situation's fucked. It is just straight fucked. That's all I can say. Keegan Alba for 5. Thoughts on the McCabe deal? If he gets back to form, I think he'll be okay, especially for a 4x4. I just don't know if Chicago's like in the real situation to go all in yet. But we'll see. Peter Larson for 5. Montreal needs to trade for Eichel. Kokaniemi is not ready to be a top 6 center, and both he and Suzuki are best 2 Cs. We need a star now. I think Suzuki can be a 1 C in time. My question is, do they have the pieces to trade for Eichel? Because if you're looking at like trading for Eichel, you're looking at multiple first-round picks. You're looking at trading Romanov. You're looking at like maybe I see Ylonen, a Paling. Like you're looking at trading those guys. I mean, if this were a year before, you'd probably be trading Cole Caulfield. So consider that. Next in Hero 91 for 5. What's your thoughts on Schwartz and Grubauer signing for Seattle? I'm not crazy about the Schwartz deal. I think he's like too injury prone and way too high, 5.5. Grubauer is kind of surprising because I didn't know if goaltending was going to be their issue, but they get like a so that's really like the more surprising thing there. I'm just trying to get myself reorganized here. Yes, Bergevin, they were going to draft Mailloux in the 2nd round, not in the 1st round. So that was the main thing there. Tyler, like, it's not confirmed that Bergevin was involved. He was part of the Chicago Blackhawks organization at the time. So there was a chance that he wasn't involved in it. Like, I think he was their director of player personnel. So he was kind of up there in the team structure. But, I mean, it mainly depends. And yes, that is surprising. He tried to get Slava Voinov. Jesus. The Mailloux situation, like it was dealt with in the courts. I think is he still charged in Sweden though? Because that's where it apparently happened. But I'm not sure. Thomas, I think the Blues ask for way too much for Tarasenko, just because of what he is and what he had been, not for his injury-prone last 2 years. That's going to be the problem right there. Oh, what's up, Zidentic, by the way? Yeah. By the way, you should have fired. Benning. You really should have. Okay, he was fined in Sweden. That makes sense. Paula Dean, Voinov, domestic violence, hardcore domestic violence, repeated cases. So that's why Slava Voinov is out of hockey. Nick, there was no term on AAV for Parise and Palmieri yet. Those still have not been confirmed. So nothing yet. Jan Mark has just been updated as well. So that's really about it. Brad Holt for 5. Which Kings Stanley Cup run was more impressive, 2012 or 2014? Interesting question. 2012 probably because nobody expected anything out of them. They crushed the President's Trophy winner in 5 games and just steamrolled everyone as an 8th seed. So I would say 2012, even though 2014 with the reverse sweep is also very impressive. Cody Stevens for 5. Thoughts on Florida's offseason? I think they're doing okay. They got rid of Strawman, even though I wasn't crazy about that signing to begin with. They're banking a lot on recent performance instead of overall track record, so it's a huge gamble. Martin Bland for 2 Canadian. What left wing would you sign if you were the Leafs? I would have tried to go after Blake Coleman, but it was probably too rich for them because of the cap space situation. They did go after Michael Bunting, so that's a decent offer, but I wouldn't say it's anything crazy per se. Contrail for 10. If the Rangers don't get Eichel, they're definitely going to need a winger to replace Buchnevich. Do you think Richie is a good idea, or do you think there's another option? I think they might be going from within to replace Buchnevich, like with Kravtsov and Kapokako and Lafreniere. I think that's what they're going for with Buchnevich. Like, I don't like the trade either, but I mean, you do have Sammy Blais, so you have that the replacement. I don't think you need Richie, to be honest with you. Luke the Dude for 5. Hope you enjoyed your time at Camden Yards. Also, what moves do you see the Capitals making? Hopefully we get younger and faster. I mentioned this earlier, especially with Washington. They can't do anything unless they trade because they are absolutely lined up against the cap, and they have all of their core locked up to long-term contracts, especially older. Like, this is why I had issue with signing TJ Oshie to an 8-year deal, because this is the part where it starts to fall apart. Because Metsov has worn off his welcome. Backstrom signed to a 4-year deal. Ovi, you signed for 5 years. Tom Wilson, I mean, he's your youngest guy in the core. Carlson's got 5 years. I think they'll be okay there, though. Orlov's gone after 2 years. Schultze's probably gone. Kempney, Samsonov you have to pay, and you have $4 million. So you can probably get away with it. But for the most part, I mean, I don't know, man. I really don't know. I could not tell you anything in that regard. Let's go. Jake's movie reviews for 2. What do you think of the Flyers unbiasedly? I think they're getting really desperate to try and fix their defense, and they're trying to go after names instead of what they really need. Martin Jones has been a hot mess for the past couple of years, so I don't know if he's the answer to your goaltending woes. Rasmus Ristolainen, you brought him in for the name, and if he even does good, he's only has 1 year left on his deal, so you kind of played yourself, and he's going to need more money. Ryan Ellis is decent, but he's owed a lot of money for term. So I think he has 4 more years, if I remember correctly. Yeah, actually more than that. Jesus. So he has 6 more years at 6.2. Jesus, no wonder why Nashville traded him. Oh, my. Yeah, have fun with that, Philly. I mean, Ellis is still a solid defenseman, but is he going to keep the same pace for 6 years? Yeah. I mean, Nashville was really good to get the hell out of that contract. And you wonder why Ryan Ellis got sold for so low? That's why. 6-year deal. Severe Venkatesh for 5. Hey, Tree Canes fan, to your thoughts on Carolina signing Tony DeAngelo. Also, thoughts on our goaltending situation. I'm not a fan of signing DeAngelo. Like, if you're trying to fix the locker room, I think bringing in a total cancer like a DeAngelo is a bad idea. I mean, if you can keep him, like, straight, the talent is there for him to be really good. But you need the proper structure to keep him accountable. New York did not have that, and that's why he went off the fucking deep end. And your goaltending situation is absolutely borked. You also have Antti Ranta and your good friend and Freddie Anderson. So, you have big questions there too. And you went from questions in that to having some sort of answer to having even more questions than that. You completely overhauled your goaltending situation again, and I don't know what you do. It's kind of a mess. Doom Dodgers looks like I'm way late in. Well, take my money anyway, dude. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. We're almost 2 hours in. Not much has happened, unfortunately, because I started late, and now there's nothing happening except Zach Hyman. It's wonderful. Black Bull 77 for 5. Can you explain Chuck Fletcher's logic behind the Flyers trades? Desperately trying to fix the defensive woes. That's what he's thinking right now. The defensive structure was a fucking mess for the Flyers last year. And, what they realized is a lot of fans complained about not replacing Matt Niskanen. Well, you got your wish because you got Ryan Ellis and Ristolainen. And you took on some rough contracts to try and fix the situation. You have $8 million left to sign all these guys, including Farabee, who's probably going to need a pay raise. So, yeah. Well, right, that's next year. I'm sorry. Travis Sanheim and Carter Hart, so you can afford. That's my bad. I'm losing it right now. I'm sorry. Zadorov said the first text he got was from Milan Lucic, and the New Flame joked about how he was glad he wouldn't have to take sucker punches from it anymore. Now we can punch other people together. Lucic. Golden Charger E. Goldeth Charger E. 1 for 2. Hey, Tree, longtime fan. Thoughts on Reimer to the Sharks? He's kind of a lateral flip for a guy like a Jones. Maybe he'll get more consistency, but at the same time, it's just like, he's a decent 1A, 1B option with Aiden Hill. It's better than what you had with Martin Jones. So that's not really saying much, though. Tommaso Mayoko for 3. What do you think of the Flyers' move so far? They're okay. I really hate the Ristolainen move for them because they're screwed either way. Like, they either paid way too much for a guy who sucks, or he's going to be really good for 1 year, and then they're going to have to pay him, or he leaves. So they screw themselves. Adam THM for 5 Tree. What the hell are the Hawks doing? So much being quiet and rebuilding. They look like to have built for that cup now. Yeah. I thought they were rebuilding in 1 year, and apparently it lasted 1 year because they had a really hot start and then died. I think they got fooled by it, and now they think they're going to go to the cup. So good shit. Neil Robichaud for 2. What the fuck is Colorado going to do for a goalie? Olmark. Well, it's either Olmark. Olmark is still available, by the way, which wouldn't be a bad signing. They also maybe trade for Kemper. There's also a few other guys. Saros is an RFA. Maybe they trade for him. I don't know. Nintendo, Don Waddell. We warned you, Hurricanes mans. Yep. This seems like Don Waddell. Hunter Dosso, I did mention, no disappointment from Ron Hextall. Joe Haas, with Foligno to Boston rumors, I think DeBrusque is on his way out in a trade for defensive help. Thanks for doing a stream while on vacation. Love you, Mr. Trade Dude. Thank you. It's just bad timing with how everything's going. So, but that's why it's so limited right now. I'm in a hotel room. I'm doing this on a random vacation. So I'm absolutely sorry about this. Sorry, it's not up to my usual quality, but unfortunately, what can I do? Tim McLaughlin for Foligno to the Bruins, 4 years, money not released. You signed him for 4 years? Nick Foligno for 4 years. Isn't he like 33? Let's take a look at our old friend, Nick Foligno, while it loads. Yeah, he's 33. He's going to be 34. You signed him for 4 years? With how rough he was last year? Okay. You're going to pay him until he's 37, and he might fall off a cliff. It's about that good old Canadian grit, right? Is this guy a future Arizona Coyote or a Florida Panther? I don't know. But 4 years is absolutely terrible for a guy like Nick Foligno. I wish I had some stupid juice. I need to drink it right now. That's a stupid juice signing. Actually, okay, Foligno signed for 2. All right, it's 2. Good. Thank God. At least it's 2. But high 3 mil AV. Well, for 2 years, it's not bad. It's not bad for 2. Is there going to be a trade deadline stream? I'm thinking about it. If it is, it's probably going to be brief like this. So nothing too crazy. Yeah, but that makes sense. The Blackhawks are trying to win with Kane and Taves still under contract, misguided with the awful. Yeah, I think it is. This is not the right time. Their window's not ready. They are trying to they're rebuilding, and now they are like, fuck it, we're going all in again. And this is what drives teams back years. These are the kind of moves that do it, and I am not happy with Chicago right now, especially if Fleury retires. They're in deep shit. Carl Dahlstrom and Alex Biega to the Leafs. That's minor league signings for the Marlies, and maybe in case they do get injuries, that's probably their issue right there. Also, they did sign Tyler Johnson. World Series predictions. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Okay, so how do we talk this man off a ledge and how the Devils fuck up the Dougie contract? Because if they fuck this up, then they're hilarious. I mean, how do we get this man off the ledge? Do we say you're still rebuilding? I don't know. Okay, let's see this. This trade, Sam G, Tyson Jost, and 2 first-rounders for Gibson. I don't know if they have the cap to do it. That's the problem. Salary cap's probably going to hold that back. And Anaheim is really in love with John Gibson, so I don't think they do that trade. Thomas, you are right. Chicago is a good thing for Chicago. Yep, the reverse jinx, right? Yep. Well, that's pretty much how it is. A lot of teams still think they see what Montreal was doing, Sixy, and they think, oh, all we have to do is just get a random stroke of luck and we can make a cup. That's what they're thinking right now. That's all it is. How will Kevin Lankinen do in his sophomore season? He kind of fell off after his first year, but he'll be a fine backup for Fleury if Fleury is there. That's going to be the issue. Too many questions. Hey, what's up, Game Master? Let's keep going here. Owen TV reacts for 7 Canadian. Do you think the Canucks sign PD and Hughes during free agency, or does one of them get offer sheeted? I think one of them does get offer sheeted, but it depends how much it is. Because remember, the last offer sheet we had was for Sebastian Aho a couple years ago. It would not shock me if Elias Pettersson is offered $10 million. It would not shock me one bit because he is the kind of game changer where giving up 3-4 first-round picks means nothing. Quinn Hughes, too early. They're not going to get offer sheeted. So Quinn Hughes is not in trouble with offer sheeting. He'll get a bridge deal. He'll be fine. But Pettersson is going to be the issue. He might get offer sheeted. And if he does, then shit is going to go down. Yeah. Okay, we realize why Foligno signed with Boston. He cited his daughter's life-saving surgeries in Boston as important. That's nice. So that's why Nick Foligno is in Boston. That's not a bad bottom 6 pickup, to be honest with you. Francisco Ruiz, your thoughts on the Vegas move so far? If they get Eichel, what do they give in return? They're going to have to give up a lot. They're going to have to give up cap space. I mean, they're already $2 million over, so Riley Smith and Marchessault would probably be your issues right now. Maybe Reeves as dead cap. They're going to have to give up some first-round picks. They're going to okay, so Hamilton has been confirmed for New Jersey, $9 million for 7 years, which, I mean, Dougie Hamilton is really, really good. But is he worth $9 million a year? Especially 28. He's a strong defensive player, not really great offensively, but he does drive a lot of offense. So I think that is a huge get for New Jersey. Those latter years may be a question mark, though, especially with his style of play. But at the same time, I think he'll be all right. Yep, Foligno is confirmed for 2 years. It is not 4, thank God. Okay. All right. A random guy. Tomorrow, the Detroit Pistons will have future Hall of Famer and main character on Space Jam 3, Cade Cunningham. Yeah, unless they trade him. There's no consensus number one this year. Like, Cunningham's not bad, but I don't think he's like anything amazing. Like a LeBron. That's what I mean. Kevin Favron for 279 Canadian. Do you think Montreal is done this offseason? No, I don't think so. I think they make a few more moves. Ziggy Samolowitz for €5. The Hawks are the NHL equivalent of Penn State football, so I'm now a fan of almost everyone else until anyone other than the Wirtz family owns that team. It varies more or less. We'll see for the most part. But, I mean, the investigation is still ongoing, so we have to give it credence, but it looks like shit right now. It really does, and I think they overreact to fix it. Hunter Doss over 5. What should the Pens be looking for during free agency? Should we go after goaltending, or are there more glaring problems so Hextall can fix this? I think they overreact for goaltending because I know DeSmith was injured, but Tristan Jarry was fucking horrid in that series, and they're going to see that as the reason instead of being dominated in the neutral zone. But yeah, Tristan Jarry was fucking putrid, and if Jarry isn't putrid, they advance, but they're not going to make the final like that. So we can see. Will Bromlich for 5. What do the Kings need to do to be competitive? I mean, they're making strides right now. Signing Deneau is a big piece, and what they should really do is keep going and developing their core. And you have Quentin Byfield coming in. You have Gabriel Velarde coming in. You have a couple other guys that could come out of the woodwork. So you could be okay there. So just keep doing what you're doing. You'll be okay. You might lose another year or two, but for the most part, you'll be okay. Soupy Spirit for 5. Should Minnesota move Zuccarello? He has a no movement clause. They can't move him. Nick Shannon for 2. How does JR go senile for grit this year? JR's gone, dude. It's Hextall. So unless JR gets a random job somewhere, he's gone. MJ Seahawk for 5. Hey, Tree, how about this trade? Colorado, you're not going to trade for Gibson because it doesn't work for the cap. Coach Ricks for 5. I know you don't cover college football, Tree, but what are your thoughts on Pitt football for 2021? Is Narduzzi going to lay an egg? Every time I think Pitt football is going to do good, they completely just it. So I don't know how to do it. I don't think that's going to be like – they're probably going to struggle again because it doesn't matter what Pitt does. They can have like incredible talents and they'll still suck. I don't know why. It's just how it is. West Wash for 2. Thank you. West Wash for another 2. Hey, Tree, love your stuff. What the fuck are the New York Rangers doing? What they're doing is they are panicking over Tom Wilson and they are overcompensating with the need for Brett. And that is why our friends in New York Rangers are overhauling their bottom 6. That's why they're doing this. That is exactly why they're doing this. Richard Majum for 5. At Florida, we're willing to eat around $4 million a year per cap. Do you think Bobrovsky to Colorado is possible? Also cheaper for Florida than a buyout. They might have to do 50%. They might have to do $5 million. So in that regard, like you're not getting anything in return for Bobrovsky. Like you are just eating that cap and then trading him for maybe like a 3rd or a 4th round pick. And I don't know if that's worth it for Florida right now. I don't know, like, unless you can guarantee me that Spencer Knight is going to be really good, there's no point in trading Bobrovsky yet, unfortunately. So, I mean, it was a terrible contract. It was desperate, but at the same time, like, they're stuck. Like, they don't have a Drager to fall back to. They just have Spencer Knight and hope he does really well. That's all they have. Jay Gravity for 5. Do the Penguins spring for Fleury? If not, what players would you like to see in the black and gold next season? I'm afraid they are, but that's just because of the fields. I mean, we'll see if Fleury retires, but it is what it is. Yeah, Varlamov is under contract. Yeah, for the Islanders. So Toronto is mainly – they're not really adding to their defense. They're more bolstering the depth. That's what they're doing right now. Okay, so it looks like DeBrusk is now on the board. Oh, Packers are trading a 6th-round pick for Randall Cobb. So, yeah, DeBrusk, yeah, that here's your new bottom 6 for Boston, by the way. DeBrusk, Coyle, and Haula, Frederick, Nosek, and Lazar. So it's definitely better, especially with Haula and Nosek. Hopefully they can not suck. I hopefully agree that they do not suck. So let's look up Dougie Hamilton. I don't need Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, that was the Hurricanes offer right there. Oh, no. not Doug Yates. Yeah. Here is Dougie Hamilton's isolated impact, by the way. Like, defensively, he's like not bad, but offensively, this is where his strength is, especially even strength in creating creating plays. That's Dougie Hamilton's strength, and that does not age poorly. So if like New Jersey does sign him to $9 million, that's going to be your big thing. Yeah, Brock Mcginn. Yep, that's your thing. It's like, it's okay. Okay. Ryan Getzlaf, 1 year, $4.5 million for New Jersey. So, or for Anaheim. Sorry. So, Anaheim is your signing, Ryan Getzlaf. That's another loyalty contract, I feel like, because Getzlaf, I don't think is worth 4.5 right now. But Slavin definitely helped, but I mean, Hamilton is a good player in his own right. Mini Marksman, oh yeah, like Crosby, I can see going to Montreal in his final years as like a going away, like a farewell, because that was his team growing up, was the Montreal Canadiens. So I'm not fucking famous, Tom. I'm just a fucking dude. I'm in my goddamn hotel room right now. Somebody's sleeping in the damn bed. That's all it really is to it. Okay, but that's not confirmed yet, Henderson. But I mean, it depends. If you're getting prime Hamilton, it's good. But like, we'll see. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's a loyalty signing. It's like one of those things. It's like, hey, you've done great work for us. Here's a 1-year deal. That's overpaying you, but you helped us to a cup all those years ago. You've been a great leader for us. You've led us to great places. We're going to be retiring your jersey. We don't want you to go anywhere else like Corey Perry. So here's a deal. That's Getzlaf. And he's a great leader for the locker room too. Like right now, he's like a good bottom six guy. Like you don't need like first line Ryan Getzlaf if he's going somewhere else. But he's like, like say Steve Yzerman in his final years. Like he was like a bottom six grinder type. That's what it's going to turn down. Sebastian Letourneau, yes, they did send a first-round pick for Foligno. I forget who they drafted, so we will have to take a quick look. I'm only doing Atu Ratu because I know he was picked. He was supposed to be a top guy. He kind of fell off. So the Toronto pick that was moved for the Columbus is Corson Sulemans. I think that's how you say it. Sulemans or Kulemans. So look out for this guy in the future because this is the pick that Toronto traded for Nick Foligno, for 7 games of Nick Foligno. So have fun with that. Definitely have fun with that. Yeah, like the first and the fourth, and then Toronto traded the fourth to to San Jose. So like to take on like dead cap. So yeah, have fun. Woohoo. Yes, but yeah, Ratu, it depends on Ratu. Like, it kind of reminds me of how Angelo Esposito fell in 2007. Like, the year before, he was projected to be a clear-cut number 1. He did nothing, and then he was drafted by the Penguins. And unfortunately, Esposito, he got injured a ton. He was part of that Marian Hossa trade to Atlanta, so that's really, I mean, sorry, my voice is getting a little dry, so oh, okay, here we go. Linus Ullmark's agent just tweeted he's off the market. He's going to make an announcement soon. Ooh, there you go. So we've got some news on Ullmark, it looks like. So I was going to sign out here, but if Linus Ullmark is going to be in a deal, we might as well stick on for a hot minute. No, my anal virginity is sacred, man. That is not being covered. So we understand that's why my V card is staying safe, especially in the rear. Come on, we know that, dude. Dead air, dead air, dead air. Good stuff. Let's keep going here. Ziggy Smolowitz for €2. Tree, what do you think about Brian Burke? I think he's more of a figurehead right now. I think he's past his prime in terms of what he is, but in the meantime, he's as long as he's out of day-to-day ops, he's more a prestige hire. So he's like the guy kind of overseeing stuff. Hextall is like the guy more or less doing stuff. Burke's like the guy like in his ear talking stuff like, oh, go trade for Milan Lucic, go trade for Marc-Andre Fleury, go trade for more stuff for Crosby. That's what he's thinking, especially with that. Brendan Bonilla, thoughts on Arizona's offseason? They're tanking again. They're mainly doing it because they kind of have to. They need to accrue draft picks because in this current situation, their upside is fringe playoff. And we saw last year they kind of collapsed, and they need to restart, and they're bringing on more bad contracts because they need to accrue draft capital. And that's the goal that Armstrong's trying to do. He's trying to reload that roster and restart in a couple of years. That's mainly what he's thinking right now. Skinny Beans for 3. What are your thoughts on the Oilers' moves? Oh, simple. I'm laughing hysterically at them. Absolutely laughing hysterically. Harrison for 5. How long do you think it will take New York Islanders to get over the hump? I don't know. I really don't know. I hope it's not long because I like that team. I like what they're doing. But we'll definitely see. Sebastian Letourneau, I did mention that, the first round pick for Foligno. Kelly Malloy, I'm surprised the Sharks bought out Martin Jones. I mean, they had to. Because he was just a negative asset at this point. So they're going to eat that around $1.5 to $2 million a year just because there's no one else. That's the only thing they're doing. I would do nothing else there, to be honest with you. So I completely understand why. But in the meantime, we will wait and see. Big Gravity for 5. What do you think about the Pens possibly bringing back the Robo Pen on a third jersey next season? And when do we see you and Mark Madden co-host a podcast? Dude, Mark Madden does not give a shit about people like me. He thinks I'm like, whatever. But, dude, he doesn't like online personalities because they didn't coach high school shit or didn't cover high school sports, even though it is brutal to cover high school sports here, especially since print media is starting to decline and more of that stuff's being outsourced, but that's not happening. And also, in terms of bringing back the RoboPen, I'm actually surprised because Lemieux absolutely hates the RoboPen. That's the only reason why he never had it. I wouldn't mind it as a third jersey. It wasn't bad. I didn't hate the logo, but Lemieux loathed it. Yeah, Kevin Lee, no, he'll laugh at TNT next time. That's all you can really say. Yep, Hamilton's reported the Devils. They're just waiting on the deal. Johnny, if they're not the reasons why I think it's not done is because they're either working on technicalities or maybe there's an issue with maybe a no trade clause or a no movement clause or anything like that. Probably something with the technicalities of the clauses. That would be my real thing there. Well, people can hate that logo because it's just it's kind of out of place. That's why they went back to the old logo back in the mid-2000s. Dude, Mark Madden was only perfect on WCW because he got the shit beat out of him by Tank Abbott. That's the only reason. I don't think Nashville's tanking next year. I think bringing back Mikael Granlund assumes that they're still going to maintain in the hunt, especially with their youth. With Saros back, I think they're still in that first round exit mode. They're still kind of just there, I feel like, and that's the problem. I think Sakic does have a plan, Nolan. I think there's going to be a as I said, there's still some options. Olmark is officially off, so maybe they got him, which would be a good get. There's potentially Darcy Kemper. But they'd probably have to overpay for that, especially since they would be in a bind. They could always go for Tristan Jarry. Just watch them get Tristan Jarry. Danny Zefeld, yeah, he's doing what he has to do. Armstrong has to so like I mean, getting those first and second round picks, you have capital to play with just in case you want to move up, pick a guy in the first round, or like even like accrue other stuff. You're okay there. What is done with Dill? Thinking either it is money related coming from up top, or it is a situation where he thinks the team can't compete and he is panicking and trying to overhaul everything. That's my question right now. Silent Shredder, Owen Power was the consensus number one pick. So if you're going by that regard, he's okay. I haven't seen him play, so I couldn't tell you like how he is, what's his style. But according to like the rankings, he's okay. So as long as you don't fuck him up like a Darlene or anyone else, you should be fine. But it is Buffalo, so yeah, we'll see. You will absolutely see. 7 years, $63 million. Yeah, that would be a 9-year deal, $9 million. So we will absolutely see. I'll be doing a sports ball for this. So yes, no, Brandon, they are not overpaying for Kemper. I mean, they probably will, but we will see. Felix, if he is, if I'm a betting man, it would probably be on Elias Pettersson. It would be him because Vancouver is in a bit of a bind, and if you offer $10 million, they might not be able to offer it, or they'd be forced to offer it, and they would have to trade like something crazy because. The only other option was, well, there have been a couple. There was O'Reilly a couple years ago, and Calgary would have fucked that up big time because they would have had to put him through waivers and he would have been potentially claimed. Or there was a situation like Dustin Penner, where that was the last successful one, where Anaheim did lose Dustin Penner, but they did get a couple draft picks. Aho was just like, it was less like a shot in the dark. I mean, that's really all it was there. If there's nothing else, they probably would get Tuukka Rask. Carter Hart, like as I said, like Carter Hart did fall to shit, but his defensive in front of him was garbage. The only reason why I take Jim Rutherford was because like what he assembled in 2015, 2016 out of nowhere. That's literally it. No, imagine losing Nedeljkovic and signing a guy like Freddie Anderson in his question mark. Svechnikov? Ooh, I didn't realize Andrei Svechnikov has an offer sheet. So Aho did get an offer sheet. You're right, Andrei Svechnikov. He might get an offer sheet, and he might get like Aho money, maybe more. He might get like $9-10 million, like probably 9 at least, because Svechnikov is really good. And Carolina does have $15 million to burn, but I don't know what else you do. I mean, I really don't. How likely do you think Marleau is to resign? I think he's done. Like, I think he's retiring. Habs are done today. It looks like Mike Hoffman is going to Montreal. So another middle six winger going to Montreal. Mike Hoffman does have his controversy as well. So another positive for Montreal there. Burke still wants to punch Kevin Lowe. Yeah, I agree. It depends on the defense in front of him. Like, I mean, he's been bad the last couple of years, but there were moments where he's just straight up stood in his head and stole game. I remember Game 5 in 2016 Cup Finals. Martin Jones stood on his fucking head. Like, that's what you have to consider with like with that sort of thing. Oh, dude, if the Kraken offer sheet Elias Pettersson, that rivalry is going to be fucking intense. Like, straight intense. What are your thoughts on Pius Suter? I have no idea why Chicago didn't like sign him. I thought he had a good year. Pius Suter, like I love him in Pittsburgh, but I don't know if we have the space for him. I don't know where he goes. Would need a middle six winger, decent skill. Arizona wouldn't be bad. San Jose maybe. Maybe even Ottawa, because Ottawa did offer him a tryout a couple when he was when they had the previous coach. So maybe there's that connection too. Matthew, I don't think the Leafs are done. I think they're just buying low on a lot of pieces and just bolstering their depth. That's all they can really do. But not Matt Hoffman. Mike Hoffman is apparently a 3-year deal at $4.5 million. There are a couple other deals as well. Jean-Sebastien D, the French name. He is especially French. 1 year, $750K. But Mike Hoffman is apparently 3 years at $4.5 million per year, which isn't bad. I mean, Mike Hoffman's more of a hired gun. And, I mean, he is in his early 30s, but you're getting what you're getting with Mike Hoffman. That's all I can really say there. It's Mike Hoffman is he's such a Mike Hoffman. Yep, Alex Biega. Zajac, I think he might go back to New Jersey if you think about it. Oh, yeah. Oh, easily. Absolutely. What do you think the Blue Jackets should do with their goaltending duo? It depends what they get in trade. Like if they can get a nice return, I mean, that was probably their goal, but unfortunately, Matiss Kivlenieks, he unfortunately passed. I mean, fireworks are fucking bullshit, or they're very dangerous. I think that was the game plan, to bring in Kivlenieks as a backup or be selected by Seattle. And unfortunately, now that he's gone, it makes it more complicated because they would have to bring in a veteran goalie just in case. So I don't know about that, but yes, 3 years, $4.5 million per year. So it's like it's a little too rich, but I mean, yeah, whatever. Garland, I think that's a little pricey, but I mean, he can work up to it. I mean, I think Vancouver's bigger issues than offering Connor Garland a 5x5, but that's just me. But yeah, I have confirmed J.R. Puffinmaster as well. Hoffman to Montreal for $4.5 million average annual value for 3 years. What does St. Louis do? I think they figure out what to do with Tarasenko. I think that's going to be the issue right there. Well, I mean, Hoffman is an upgraded Tatar, but are they going to have the space to play him? That's going to be the question. What about Kyrou and Thomas? I mean, Kyrou only has 1 year, so he might get a bridge. Thomas, probably a little more, but at the same time, should be manageable. Well, we're not NHL GM, so that's why. I mean, if they're going out like trying to buy out money the next couple of years, so be it. But yes, we have officially hit 100 signings. Yeah. Anything going on? Jake Dolagala has been claimed off waivers. Oh, Nationals are dealing with another COVID outbreak. So, Trevor Story and John Gray apparently might be being traded to the Mets, which is, if that's true, holy shit. But we will see. We'll absolutely see. Yeah, Mike Hoffman, he's like a hired gun. We'll keep going here. We'll see how the insiders are talking about it. Yep, Kyle Dubas, boy wonder. He's actually had a decent season. High threes. Ooh. But, yeah. But, yes, second team in addition to Colorado with serious interest in Darcy Kuemper. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think Kuemper is going to be in demand. I think he's absolutely going to be in demand. But we will see what's happening. I mean, if it's not happening in the next 5 minutes, I'll probably sign out because Lindor, I mean, if that's confirmed, I think Lindor, I mean, you'd probably be looking at second base. Or maybe he's part of the return. I'm not sure. We'll see. Oh, how do you like the Kraken's moves? I mean, Grubauer was like, holy shit, that's like in the middle of nowhere. Not crazy about the Schwartz signing. Wenberg's not bad for what it is. Hopefully your stream has been better. It's been okay. I mean, it's not what it usually is, but it's just like, it is what it is. Yeah, and it's cooled down quite a bit. Yeah, of course, like the moment I decide to do this later is when everything cools down. It's like, that's great. That's absolutely great. Oh, Kelly, the Sharks need to work on their defense, but they can't because they're already loaded up in really bad contracts. Like Carlson's locked up, Burns is locked up, Vlasic's locked up. Radim Simek is like, he's good, but like he's the only one with really fair value and a bunch of unproven commodities. So they can't work on defense. Yep, it's been signed. It's unconfirmed to where. So we are waiting for where. Do you think the Flames become instant contenders if they land Eichel? It depends on what they return. I think like that would be the overhaul they would need to really bolster because they did lose Giordano. It depends how the defense meshes without Giordano and how Markstrom plays. I think if Markstrom does all right, as usual, I think he's okay. But yeah, the Islanders don't have space for Tarasenko unless they're offering like cap in return. Yeah, does Kaprizov stay in Mini or go back to Moscow? I think he's using the KHL's leverage. And he's doing it for more money. And if like he goes back to Russia, Minnesota's fucked. Like there's nothing else they can do. Kaprizov was the main reason why Minnesota was as good as they were. You will absolutely see on that. If Kemper goes to Pittsburgh, I'd be interested to see this return. But there are a couple pieces we're still waiting on. Jarmo Fleece-Bowman again with Seth Jones. Oh, yeah, that was – and especially since Bowman tripled down, especially in that regard. Oh, man. So that's going to be crazy. Thoughts on the Hurricanes' moves by Connor Hall? They're rough. They do not make sense from any perspective, from like a team-building perspective, from an analytical perspective, or from just like a PR perspective. Like it's not making sense. It's not making sense to me whatsoever. Biggest news of the day, Arthur has been canceled. Dude, I didn't know that show was still going on. I thought they got canceled like 20 years ago. I'm like, whoa, they did 25 years? Okay. That's insane. Yes, Mike, I did see the Fremio Reyes home run. Like he beat the shit out of that baseball. As for Subban, I think he'll probably bounce around from team to team, maybe get bought out of his contract and then just like bounce. I think that's how it is. Cheney, like I think they're waiting a little bit to announce it, but that's really all I'd say there. Yeah, Caillou got canceled last year. Yeah, well, nobody gives a shit about Caillou. F in the chat for the Goat of Children shows. No, the Goat of Children shows is Sesame Street. Come on. Are the Flyers making moves for the top four in the Metro? Depends how Carter Hart bounces back and how the defense measures. That's really how it is. Fever dream, but could the Flyers land Eichel? Not at the cap. Like, they don't have the cap space unless they're offering pieces in return, and I don't know if Philly has them. Like, they don't have the cap to return to Buffalo. Unfortunately, that's not happening. Yep, wants to sign people. Yeah, that's what they did last year. They signed a bunch of guys like because they were capitalizing on like the flat cap. Like I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to bring in a bunch of guys that they hope will do a lot better than last year's. But that's really how it is. Do you think the Caps make a move to get Vanacek back? Yes, I think so. I think like maybe a second or a third should get it done. That would absolutely make sense. Who do you think the Avs will get a goalie? I'm thinking either Ullmark or Darcy Kemper in trade, because losing Grubauer, that's huge. Montreal's to move pieces to have cap to sign Kotkaniemi and Lehkonen. Well, Kotkaniemi is going to be the big one. Lehkonen, you can take him or leave him. He was okay. Honestly, SpongeBob should have ended a while ago. Like that show has not been the same for a very long time. I think they wanted to cancel that back in 2004, but Nickelodeon said nope. We need to make money, and that's why. Like it's just I see it every now and again, like on like YouTube, like random things pop up. It's like this is not the same show, and they're making spin-offs, so I think that'll be around for a while because they know it can make money. Okay. I'm losing my voice. I'm so sorry. But yes, Foligno is now a Boston Beantown Bruin. But yes, that was the his daughter's surgery was in Boston. I think that was a big reason. Mike Hoffman has been confirmed. Foligno, yep. So looks like the moves are starting to go down to a trickle, unfortunately, and that's my fault for thinking things would happen earlier. So, Actually, okay, so it looks like the confirmation is Linus Ullmark is going to Boston. Oh, shit. So Buffalo's fucked. What do you do if you're Buffalo or Colorado? Because Buffalo was absolutely relying on Linus Ullmark coming back, and Boston just sagged him, and that is a great move because that is a good 1A and 1B for Swayman. So what do they do? Do they trade for Daniel Vladar? Yeah, Buffalo is Buffalo getting raw dogged right now. That's a surprise. I'm interested to see what this cap is. Yep, Linus Ullmark is going to Boston according to Elliott Friedman. So it is absolutely confirmed. So that's a good signing for Boston. But might as well end it on a high note here. Guys, I want to thank you all for joining me in the meantime. Let me get a few more of these out of the way. Howard Black for 3. Who do you have? We'll get a goalie. Unfortunately, not Ullmark anymore. It might be Rask. Connor Hall for 5. Reimer or Anderson should start for the Canes. Probably Reimer's gone. Dude, James Reimer's now a Shark. So your answer would be Ronta or Anderson. And it would probably be Freddie Anderson because Ronta is not healthy enough. Yep. So Linus Ullmark is now a Boston Bruin. Woof. Absolute woof. But otherwise, guys, I hope you enjoyed this shit show of a stream. I am calling it a night. I might be back on Friday. We'll see. But have a great night, guys. We'll see you around. Peace.